and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Australia's Foreign Minister has held meetings with her counterparts announcing funding to help civilians affected by the Hamas-Israel war in Gaza. Penny Wong has arrived in Jordan and will visit Israel, the West Bank and UAE. $21.5 million of humanitarian aid will be provided. She says it will include $4 million for the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement.
$6 million to UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Agency, in response to the flash appeal, and then additional monies for refugees programs in Lebanon and Jordan at a time of increasing regional stability.
The US has carried out another wave of strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen amid reports shells suspending all shipments through the troubled Red Sea. More from Jonathan Kersley.
US Central Command has confirmed 4 Houthi anti-ship ballistic missiles were destroyed in attacks in the early hours of the morning. Those missiles, it said, were prepared to launch from areas controlled by the Iran-backed militant group. Hours later, a Maltese-flagged ship was struck by a Houthi missile in the Red Sea. The tensions in the vital shipping lane have reportedly led to Shell suspending all of its shipments through that area, according to the Wall Street Journal.
There's been a worrying jump in the number of manufacturing and construction businesses going bust. Data from the company's regulator shows more than 2,000 construction operators went into administration last financial year. That's 1,000 more than the previous year. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Lee says government policies are to blame.
These are really worrying statistics because our manufacturing businesses actually make things here in Australia. This is what Anthony Albanese promised the Australian people. We would make more things in Australia. But under his government, unfortunately, we're making less.
As Term 1 edges closer, the cost of schooling's in the spotlight. Futurity's Education Index has found SA as one of Australia's most affordable cities, with 13 years at a government school coming in at around $88,000. But CEO Sam Sondy says there are lots of things to take into account when deciding whether to go public or private.
Over 80% of people are facing cost of living pressures and are signalling that this is causing household stress. Education costs are a big part of that. But the flip side of that is that the majority of parents surveyed, some 85%, said that education is a critical enabler and very important to the families.
Bali's popularity as a holiday spot's on the rise, now the 4th ranked overseas destination for Aussie travellers. Figures show almost 118,000 travellers returned from the island in November. And Adelaide Oval's ready to cater for the influx of cricket fans from today when Australia take on the West Indies in the first test. 20 self-serve food and beverage checkouts are now operating at the Oval. While the beverage options have become more environmentally friendly, cans are a permanent fixture and plastic cups are compostable. Adelaide Oval CEO Nick Addison says they've also tried to keep price increases to a minimum.
We've been really pleased that we've kept most of our price increases below the rate of inflation this year. We believe we're the only Tier 1 stadium in Australia to have a pint of beer below $10.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. An incredible night of drama for South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis as he fought his way through to the second round in a thrilling 5-set match against Austrian Sebastian Offner at the Australian Open. The 27-year-old winning the 5th set tiebreaker 10 points to 8. Aussie John Millman's singles career may be over meantime, but in the doubles he's hopeful he and Ed Winter can make it an all-Aussie wildcard win.
Look, I'll be honest with you, doubles was never my forte. Eddie's going to have to carry me. It'll be great playing with the young fella. I'd be happy to get a win, to be honest.
Yeah, let's hope that happens. Meantime, fellow Aussie Isla Tomljanovic is also through to the second round on the women's singles side after she won a hard-fought 3-setter against Petra Martic. Well, the first test between Australia and the West Indies will get underway at Adelaide Oval later this morning. The Aussies are expected to dominate the tourists, who will blood several new faces. Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers will take on the Perth Scorchers in their knockout BBL final on Saturday night. That's after the Sydney Sixers won a thrilling match against the Scorchers last night at Optus Stadium, winning the match on the final ball. That result means the Sixers finish second and will play against the Brisbane Heat for a shot at playing in the grand final. Well, West Aussie cyclist Sam Welsford will be wearing the Ochre Leaders jersey when he sets off on stage 2 of the Tour Down Under later this morning. Today's route will begin in Norwood and head through the Adelaide Hills. And plenty of FA Cup action this morning with Wolverhampton taking on Brentford, while West Ham will play against Bristol City. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, more of the same tomorrow, 25. Mostly sunny Friday, 29, and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Tired of your rent and bills going up and up and up? Pump them down with EcoVantage. It's easy to switch your existing hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump, even if you're renting. And thanks to federal and state government-facilitated subsidies, it could cost as little as $0. Start saving hundreds off your water heating costs. Hit up your landlord and ask for the EcoVantage switch. Visit ecovantage.com.au. T's and C's apply.
When you think of single malt Scotch whisky, you might imagine Scotland's green hills, her fresh babbling brooks, and rows of oak barrels. But you can get the same feeling right here in Adelaide when you walk down the aisles at Powell's. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through Scotland's best whisky labels and the best from around the globe, all under one roof. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Powell's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
What can be better than finding a new restaurant to share with friends? Discover a brilliant international taste experience at the all-new Tunki at West Lakes. Now, I've been there. I was there just a week or two ago. It is sensational. Now, if you love Asian food with a bit of spin, try their Nikkei cuisine. So what's that? Well, it's the 20th century Japanese migrants who flocked to Peru looking for work and soon after began fusing Japanese flavours with local ingredients. Chef Krish Dutt invites you to share his take on Nikkei cuisine at Tunki. With sizzling wood-fire grilled delights and a unique Japanese-Peruvian fusion, Tunki will set your taste buds dancing a spectacular marinera. That's a dance, they tell me, in Peru. I'm not familiar with it. Book your table now at the all-new Tunki and be part of the sensation. Tunki, where fusion meets perfection. 141 Brebner Drive, West Lakes, or tunki.au.
Visit Solitaire Volkswagen for up to 25% off demonstrator vehicles. Over 170 demonstrator vehicles to choose across the entire Volkswagen range. Hurry, offer ends January 20. Visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au or our showrooms at Hawthorn and Medindi. DL 65541.
At Coles, get great value hands down for back to school. With half-price Kellogg's Nutri-Grain, 290 grams for just $3.50. Make back to school easy with great value hands down at Coles.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 17th of January. It's a massive day in Adelaide today. The start of the Adelaide Oval Test will be crossing there very shortly. Stage 2 of the Tour Down Under's on, and we've got all the heavy hitters on. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, will join us after 7 o'clock today. We'll go around the courts with Sean Fuster. Koshy's going to look forward over the course of 2024 at the various inputs into the nation's economy and indeed your personal economy. We'll be talking about money with Koshy at 8:20 today. The Acting Police Commissioner, Linda Williams, will be on the program. It's been an incredibly difficult period for police. We'll talk to her about some of the ways our police officers are being taken care of at what has been a really traumatic time. Couldn't be a day featuring the heavy hitters without us bringing in a heavy hitter into the studio.
Jeez, more like a feather duster.
Oh, come on. Come on. A man who he really needs no introduction, but I'll do one anyway. One of our most beloved politicians, our premier stuntman in the history of politics in this nation, a man who has blazed trails in trademark law on multiple continents, and now plying his hand as a restaurateur. Nick Xenophon, good morning to you.
Can I just say thanks to Theo.com.
Thanks to Theo.com. That Euros we had when you came in the other day was unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's still unbelievable. It's great to be here. I thought I wasn't going to be here because I stuffed my back up. But yes,
well, I had rumours started coming through that you'd hurt your back. And I had these visions of you coming in like Hannibal Lecter on the upright bed. Maybe without the muzzle.
Yeah, no fava beans or
no Chianti or fava beans. But what did you do to yourself?
Well, look, most people hurt their back, rugby tackles, cage fighting.
Yeah, you weren't cage fighting again, were you?
No. No, those days are over. Embarrassingly, magpie. Swooped by a magpie twice on the weekend.
So when you tried to take evasive action, did you?
Oh, my God. It was just try to get the washing off the line, then swoop. It just was a little bugger. And then the next day, so I jarred my back, cut my knee, jarred my back. I'm glad no one was videoing it because it would have been on Strays Funniest Home Videos. But it really jarred my back. It was just yesterday was a day off work. So team at the law practice, I'll be back in this morning. I'm not bludging today. I'm just going to be working today. But I don't know if any of you've ever been swooped, but it's a bugger of a thing.
In your own backyard?
In my own backyard. It must be territorial, it must be nesting, and of course they're a protected species, so no baseball bats to magpies.
Exactly right. Well, quite the opposite. Apparently they say feeding them actually can bring them on side.
Yeah.
And curry favour with them.
Yeah.
Then you may have multiple swooping magpies, I'm not sure.
No, apparently if your friends, I think Kendall was saying that she feeds them and they leave her alone, but so I think I've got to get the walnuts out. Apparently ratsat's not appropriate.
No. They don't. Turns out they don't like it that much. No, but I guess that's not the outcome
are good.
For.
Walnuts are good, apparently. Little crushed up little bits of walnut.
Have you been swooped by a magpie this season, folks? 8223 0000. Text us on the text line 0480 1395. It is. Well, it's late in the season for swooping too, isn't it?
Not too late for me.
No, not too late for you.
Don't make me laugh, it hurts. Anyway, I'm drugged up this morning, so if you have to press the dump button, if I say anything inappropriate, I understand.
There's an entire band of radio that conducts itself that way. But
So I don't need. I had to look at one of Hunter S. Thompson's books to see what he took, so...
So what are you doing with yourself these days? So you obviously you're still in the law office.
Absolutely.
You got the restaurant on the side. You don't understand what slowing down is in life, do you?
No, I'm 65 soon. It's ridiculous.
Once upon a time, that was the retirement age.
No, not now.
That's right.
Did Joe Hockey want us to work till we were 80?
Yeah.
Wasn't that going to be the new pension age?
I've got a theory that, in fact, it'll be like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the job that's never completed. Yeah. I'm never going to catch up to the retirement age. It's just going to keep pushing out faster than old age.
Yeah. Just keep painting that bridge.
Yeah, that's
keep painting.
It's exactly
a bit of abseiling as well, when you can.
It's going to be a big morning on 5AA Breakfast. We have some excellent giveaways, including one...
Thanks to Theo. I checked with my partners in the business last night and a $200 voucher. Now, how generous is that? That's going to go a long way, thanks to Theo. The slow-cooked lamb, the calamari, the octopus.
You can have a good night out that way.
Yeah, you have a good night out. So, table for four and chip in a little bit after that, but it'll go a long way.
We're going to have a cricket theme giveaway over the course of the morning as well, because we've got a test match coming up in a few hours' time. The only concern about it, because the weather's good, we know the crowds will be good. The only concern is it might not last very long because the West Indies aren't great. So we're going to play a game from now through till 9 o'clock. Nearest to the pin, you have to call in to be part of the competition and tell us what time of day and what day you think the test will be over.
Is Gary Sober still playing?
I think if he wanted to and was capable, he'd probably still back five for this West Indies side, I think. They're in dire straits. If you want to tell us when you think this test will end, time of day and day, you're in the running to win a excellent $200 voucher for Thanks to Theo, this magnificent restaurant. As I say, I've tried the Euros. It's absolutely magnificent. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on 0448 08 1395 or interact with the program on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. We're going to cross down to the Adelaide Oval very shortly, and news headlines are coming up in just a second.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. As the biggest family-owned tile company in Australia, National Tiles races to get the very latest tiles from Italy, Spain and around the world at the guaranteed lowest prices. That's what makes us number one. Here in Adelaide, we have 3 magnificent stores in Mile End, Nailsworth and Wingfield. Plus our world-class online store, National Tiles. Number one for the very latest tiles at the very best prices in Australia. Conditions apply.
5AA's Business Lounge with Matthew Pantelis.
I'm with Kieran Ryan from Reactivate. Chronic back pain can really hurt your quality of life. How could Reactivate fix my lower back?
Reactivate is a minimally invasive, surgically implanted restorative solution to treat the cause of chronic low back pain. Reactivate focuses on improving function in your lower back and ultimately reducing pain.
What sets Reactivate apart?
Historically, patients have been offered pain medications which don't treat the underlying cause, and patients can become reliant on them. Reactivate can help treat the actual cause.
To learn more about Reactivate, visit fixmylowerback.com.au.
Patients must talk to their health professional about whether the Reactivate implantable pulse generator device is right for them and suitable as part of the overall plan to manage their intractable chronic mechanical low back pain. Outcomes may vary for each patient. Patients should discuss with their healthcare professional the factors that could impact the level and timing of the effect. The Reactivate IPG device is not a first-line treatment for chronic mechanical low back pain. Surgery is required to use the Reactivate IPG device, and any surgical procedure carries risk.
Jayco's MY23 factory sale is now on. For 10 days only, take advantage of great deals across the entire range. With prices starting from just $23,590 and hot summer savings of up to $3,000, now's the time to plan your next great escape. With stock available for immediate delivery, there's a van for every budget and adventure. So if you're warming to the idea of a new RV, visit jayco.com.au to find your local dealer today.
If you've been holding off on a new roof, get in touch with Focus Home Improvements. We use SA's finest tradespeople, which just happens to be our tradespeople. We only use Australian quality materials, and believe me, you'll appreciate it years from now. Plus, as a bonus, we'll throw in up to 40 metres of free gutter guard. Up to 40 metres! New roof? Now's the time. Organise a free quote. Visit focushomeimprovements.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
16 after 6, we're going to cross down to the Adelaide Oval very shortly on day one of the test against the West Indies. We'll see who's lining up. Who gets there early? Do you get there early and stake out a spot in the members' side? Have you got a position where you've watched every test match since, I don't know, 1970 or something or other? Sounds like you haven't been to the test in a long, long time, Nick. Is that right?
No, years ago.
Years ago.
It's still one of the best ovals in the world.
It is magnificent, isn't it? They did the redevelopment really well. Let's jump into the news headlines on this Wednesday morning. A murder charge against a 20-year-old man accused of killing an intruder at his father's Cuddler property has been dropped. Marco Yandel has instead confessed to assisting the offender in the shooting of Stephen Murphy last year. He'll remain in custody for now and has been ordered to return to court with his father in February. Keith is yet to enter a plea to murder. Researchers have uncovered a link between heart disease and obesity. A protein molecule previously implicated in Alzheimer's disease has been found to accumulate in the mitochondria cells of the heart. We'll get Nick to explain that in a moment. Once spread, it can prohibit the heart's ability to pump blood around the body. I mean, I'm no doctor, Nick, but I thought we were sort of well across heart disease and obesity being linked. This is clearly on a molecular level, this breakthrough.
It sounds like a lot of money. There was a lot of money spent on that research.
It does, doesn't it?
Fat chance is all I can say.
There's been an apology from the Extinction Rebellion protester who abseiled off the Morfett Street Bridge during the morning peak hour last year. 69-year-old May Caroline Thorne pled guilty to one count of willfully obstructing a public place during a protest in May. She was convicted in order to complete 15 hours of community service as well as pay $750 in compensation to emergency services. Of course, controversially, it was after this incident that the state government introduced far more onerous penalties for people. And
I wonder how many hearts and minds she won that morning to the
Zero.
cause.
Zero. In fact, I think there were people who were sympathetic to climate change who went and bought a V8 later that day.
And revved it up.
And exactly
Did
right.
burnouts.
Thousands of customers could be affected by overseas scammers purchasing logins for online retailers. The Herald's reporting that cyber criminals are bragging about buying phones, clothing and top-shelf alcohol with strangers' money. Major retailer The Iconic is issuing full refunds to customers caught up in a hack. This is in the realm of things we're going to be pursuing with the Prime Minister after 7 o'clock, isn't it?
And a big difference between us and the UK, where consumers have a much better chance of getting their money back.
Is that just lax legislating, or is
it's lax legislating? They've ignored consumer groups. Anyway, I think it's a good question to ask the PM.
There's been a worrying jump in the number of manufacturing and construction businesses going bust. Data from the company's regulator shows more than 2,000 construction operators went into administration last financial year. That's 1,000 more than the previous year. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Ley says the government policies are to blame.
These are really worrying statistics because our manufacturing businesses actually make things here in Australia. This is what Anthony Albanese promised the Australian people. We would make more things in Australia. But under his government, unfortunately, we're making less.
The downturn in the construction sector has been the slowest moving train crash. Everyone involved in that industry were warning 24 months ago what the next couple of years were going to look like.
And security for payments, which basically is shorthand for people getting paid for the work they do.
Yeah.
The laws are still all over the place. It really needs a Commonwealth approach because, a lot of trades don't get paid. And if they don't get paid, ripple effects.
Bali's popularity as a holiday spot is on the rise. Now the 4th ranked overseas destination for Australian travellers. Statistics show almost 118,000 travellers returned from the island in November, topping numbers for the first time since COVID. I'm actually surprised it's not the most popular international destination.
I'm going there next weekend.
You're another statistic.
I'll send you boys a postcard.
You're another statistic.
I'm just as well. Hopefully not on a moped.
All right, let's. Yeah, that's right. It would be quite an expensive job getting the back taken care of overseas, I think.
Yeah.
Does your insurance cover that?
No, because it's a pre-existing condition.
Okay,
I've got to watch
there you
that.
go. See, this is good travelling with a lawyer. Let's head down to the Adelaide Oval. Sam Daddo is at the scene. As we understand, there are a few eager cricket goers that are already lining up to get their treasured seats. Sam Daddo, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Good morning, Nick. Yeah, I am down here at Adelaide Oval. There are a few keen punters outside the gates. I tried really hard to have a chat to a few of them. They weren't too keen to come on air, so I've been able to get into the ground. So I'm currently looking over the magnificent Adelaide Oval. The covers are still on the pitch. The lawn mowers are out. We're going to be speaking to Davian Hoff just a little bit later, just to what sort of condition the pitch is in, what the grass. But the Adelaide Oval just had a multi-million-dollar light upgrade as well. The place is looking schmick ahead of the test. And I got a few stats for you. Of course, we are taking on the West Indies, and controversial, and some might say the last test match here in Adelaide, December 2022, was against the West Indies. Australia won that one by 419 runs. It was all over day 4, session 1. Our very own Travis Head, he was the man of the match that game. 175 in the first dig, 38 not out in the second, and crowds have been a massive bone of contention this year. Well, speaking about Perth as always, but day 1 at the test in 2022 against the West Indies, 24,449 people arrived. Day 2, 27,490. Day 3, 24,889. And day 4, when it was all basically done and over, 9,789. And it's important to remember as well, this is the first Red Ball test match here at Adelaide Oval since 2014 when we took on India. Australia won that one by 48. So Adelaide Oval looking absolutely magnificent. All the workers are out preparing the surface. You've got the TV networks getting ready. It's looking mighty fine here.
Good on you, Sam. Thank you for that. If you're getting down there, folks, any of you want to get down there early, tell us your tactic to stake out your seat and where you go and the history of it. We'd love to hear from you. 8223 Remember, too, we've got the $200 Thanks to Theo voucher to give away as well to someone who, you can play nearest to the pin. When you think the test will end, there was a bit of a hint about what happened last fixture between these two sides that Sam gave away then. We'll get Rennie's tip in just a moment. We'll get those right throughout the morning, right through until 9 o'clock today on 8223 0000. Top of 23 today, 25 tomorrow, and partly cloudy. This is the cooler part of the week before it warms up on Friday. 29 on Friday, 34 on Saturday, 35 on Sunday. Nothing else of note to talk about in the forecast those days, just purely sunny. Then how about this? Monday gets up to 39 and Tuesday 37. So I think I jinxed. I came back complaining entirely about the total absence of a hot summer. I jinxed it into reality, I think. I'm claiming credit for this hot weather.
I think you're more accurate than the bomb.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Said no one ever. Now, Tom Wren's wandered into the FIVEAA breakfast studio. Get immediate delivery on the Mitsubishi Triton from Agostina Mitsubishi Nailswork and their brand new dealership at Mawson Lakes. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, Nick. Great to have you in and helping carry Will along. So it's good to have you on board.
The other way around.
No, it's great.
I'll need all the help I can get, Rennie.
Good duo. Hey, boys, it was a great night if you're a sporting fan last night. There was, some amazing finishes left, right and centre. We'll start with the tennis because, South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis, he's had his fair share of injuries and bad luck and, just misses over the journey. But last night on John Cain Arena, which is like the biggest public stadium, if you like, if you've got a general pass, you can just wander in. So you get a really... you can get a colourful vibe in there in terms of atmosphere. People, perhaps not living up to the tennis etiquette, but it also means you can get a really raucous and exciting atmosphere as well. 5-setter, 4 hours, and it all came down to the 5th set tie break. He won 10 points to 8. This is how he wrapped it up.
Kokonakis comes through in a nail-biter on John Cain Arena.
2-6, 6-7, 6-1, 7-6.
So a great result. I mean, the crowd was just going wild. They just love him. So he's a bit of a character himself. Of course, played with Nick Kyrgios a couple of years ago, winning the doubles Grand Slam. So great result. Tough assignment next up. He's got Grigor Dimitrov, who won the Brisbane International, for his next round. But if he gets the crowd behind him again, you never know. Going to be difficult, but you never know.
I just wanted him to get a good run with his body and his fitness, just to see what he's capable of, because I don't think we've yet seen what is the best of Thanasi Kokkinakis. What does it look like?
And this is it. Like if he played for 3 or 4 years consecutively without being interrupted by a knee injury, shoulder, glandular fever, etc., I think he's probably a top 30 player. But unfortunately, that's been the issue over the journey. So this is good. He needs to get some ranking points early in the year. Dimitrov was pushed yesterday. He won in 4 sets eventually, but this will be a much, much harder match. Dimitrov's a good player.
When they play?
That'll play tomorrow. Right. So, yeah, difficult match, but, let's hope that he can get it done.
Would it be Thanasi or Thanasi, Nick?
Thanasi?
It would be Thanasi.
Yes.
Thanasi. Okay.
Why are you asking me? What would I know?
Oh, I had an inkling. I had an inkling.
Kokkinakis and Kokkino in Greek means red.
Oh, does
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope he red lines tomorrow.
That's right.
But yeah, really nice to see that. Ajla Tomljanovic, another Aussie, through last night, which was great, albeit she had to fight hard against Petra Martic. And Novak Djokovic playing today against Alexei Popyrin should be a beauty, so looking forward to that. Cricket, that starts today. Can't wait for it. Australia and the West Indies. A cool day, so if you've got the day off or the kids are on holidays, you can get down there. Perfect day to get down there.
Rennie, we're playing. You may have heard we're playing a nearest to the pin game this morning. We're trying to guess when will the test end, because I think that's the only real element of intrigue about this match. Maybe we'll be proved wrong. Hopefully we are.
Yeah.
But the stature of the two sides and where they're at currently, it feels like it's the only intriguing question. For people that aren't au fait with the cricketing day, we're talking any time between today and Sunday, days-wise, but timing-wise, when's the first ball and when's the last ball of the day?
First ball, 10 o'clock today.
Yep.
Last ball, theoretically, should be 5 o'clock, but they always bowl slow over 8.
So sometime between 10 and 5 over the next 5 days. You say a time and you're in the running to win the Thanks to Theo $200 voucher.
Great. I'll say Saturday. I'm going to say 11:55 a.m.
You're entering the competition.
Yeah, I'm
Reddy's in. 11:55 on Saturday.
Saturday. So I think it'll go into a day 4.
Okay, that'd be a good result. I think
that'd be a pretty good result.
Be nice to get to we want to get to the weekend.
I'll see you at Thanks to Theo then.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But last night, the cricket starts. The Adelaide Strikers were keeping a close eye on this because the Sydney Sixers were playing against the Scorchers. The loser of this match plays the Strikers in a knockout final on Saturday, and it all came down to the last ball.
This for the victory. Enriquez, the first commandment for Moses was to get bat on ball, and well may they celebrate, because no one beats the Scorchers in Perth.
Audio thanks to Fox. He's a great caller, Anthony Hudson. Sydney Sixers won, so it means that the Strikers play against the Perth Scorchers Saturday night. Going to be difficult, given they've lost a few players now at the end of the season, which is a bit annoying. James Overton, Adam Hosey, and also Chris Lynn. But, the Strikers are playing well. Let's hope the other guys can carry them across. And the Tour Down Under yesterday, good start to that. And Sam Wilsford took out stage 1. It was a great crowd as well for that. Pretty hot conditions, much cooler today. They're going through Norwood and the Adelaide Hills, so it should be quite nice.
It'll be magnificent. Good on you, Rennie.
Good on you. Thanks, boys.
Tom Wren, drive away with a great deal at Agostino Mitsubishi Nailsworth and the brand new Agostino Mitsubishi at Mawson Lakes. Few texts coming through on 0480081395. Now, Wally the Walnut has said it's going to be all over on Friday, all over Red Rover. Well, Wally, you need to give us a time to be in the competition, mate. We can't. I mean, you can't just have the entire day.
That's a pretty wide sort of ranging time.
We won't have many people in the competition if you can take an entire 24-hour period. Jared says, my prediction all over by 4 p.m. Friday. Luckily, I've got annual leave until then, so maybe Jared's just hoping that's the case. Smith to make a ton on debut opening. Well, that's part of the intrigue of the test too.
I think it's a very good chance.
And someone else commenting on the May Thorne fine for obstructing traffic and causing all sorts of nuisance by abseiling off the Morfett Street Bridge. What a pathetic fine. Cost you $500 for an ambulance. Make the fines hurt, which I guess was part of the impetus behind...
It's now $50,000, 3 months jail.
Exactly right. But Well, that's maximum, isn't it?
Maximum.
We
There's a
won't see that.
discretion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a discretion, but it sends a signal.
8223 is the number, or jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream and leave us your thoughts there. Big program ahead. The Prime Minister will be joining us. David Koch, he's not the Prime Minister, but he too will be joining us. There was just a comma there. Acting Commissioner Linda Williams will be on the program, and we're also going to be speaking with the head curator at Adelaide Oval, Damien Hoff, to get a bit of a sense of how the pitch is going to play over the course of the next few days.
This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
The Foreign Minister has announced a new aid package for civilians impacted by the war in Gaza during a trip to the Middle East. Eliza Edwards has details.
Speaking from Jordan overnight, Penny Wong addressed the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza and pledged an extra $21.5 million in aid. That will go towards providing food, shelter and emergency healthcare to Palestinians. The Foreign Minister is now in Israel. She's met with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, who thanked Australia for its support in condemning Hamas's atrocities. She'll also meet survivors of the October 7 attacks.
While Shell is suspending all oil shipments through the troubled Red Sea after the US carried out another wave of strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. A mobility scooter battery left charging is being blamed for a fatal fire at a retirement village in Hillcrest. 83-year-old Trevor Fielden died in the blaze at the Crestview retirement village on Monday night. His wife Grace managed to escape with minor injuries. Public or private? That's the question many parents ask themselves when it comes to schooling. Futurity's Education Index has calculated the cost of a child's complete education if starting school in 2024. It comes to $88,000 for a government school and $196,000 for a Catholic education and $288,000 for a private college. CEO Sam Sondy has broken down the figures.
When we look at an independent schooling, for example, tuition costs represent just north of 50% of the total basket of costs. When you look at the other 45%, it's everything from uniforms to devices, extracurricular activities, sports uniforms, musical instruments, etc.
Thousands of customers could be affected by overseas scammers purchasing logins for online retailers. Cyber criminals are bragging about buying phones, clothing and top-shelf alcohol with strangers' money. Major retailer The Iconic is issuing full refunds to customers caught up in a hack. Qantas has dipped significantly when it comes to the brand value and brand strength of Aussie companies. Gabrielle Hodson has details.
It's been a stormy year for the Flying Kangaroo, with the early departure of the CEO and legal fights over the sale of tickets on cancelled flights, as well as the illegal sacking of staff. Qantas has dipped to number 41 when it comes to brand value, scoring behind Myer, Tip Top and Origin Energy. The results have just been published by the Financial Review, but were calculated in October by consultancy firm Brand Finance. Woolworths is Australia's top brand when it comes to value, despite promises by Canberra that it'll come under pressure about cost of living for consumers. Atlassian Software and the NRMA are among the big risers in the list.
And Sarah Snook has done it again, the Adelaide-born actress winning her first Emmy. The 36-year-old capped a golden night for Succession, taking home the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, after also winning the Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award. Now turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with cricket, and Aussie captain Pat Cummins says he can't wait to play again at Adelaide Oval. The first test against the West Indies begins this morning, with the Aussies strong favourites to beat an inexperienced Windies side. Cummins telling Rowie and Timmy G it's somewhere he loves coming back to.
In terms of favourite places to play around the world, I reckon this is just about top of the list. Home ground, SCG had a great week there last week, but tell you what, this is right up there.
And a thrilling game in the BBL overnight, with the Sydney Sixers winning a last ball thriller against the Perth Scorchers. The result means the Adelaide Strikers will play against the Scorchers in a knockout final in Perth on Saturday night. To tennis, South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis is through to the second round of the Australian Open following a thrilling 5-set win against Austrian Sebastian Offner. The 27-year-old winning 10 points to 8 in the 5th set tiebreaker, and he joked afterwards he wished it wasn't so hard.
I wish I could do it easier, but I can't. I've got the mental focus of a 3-year-old, so however I can get it done. You guys are amazing. Without you, no chance I'm winning, so...
Yeah, great stuff. Audio thanks to 9. Fellow Aussie Isla Tomljanovic also had a win against Petra Martic. And in some cycling to finish, West Aussie Sam Welsford has taken out stage 1 of the Tour Down Under. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, more of the same tomorrow, 25. Mostly sunny Friday, 29 and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
25 to 7. Wally says 2:50pm on Friday. The cricket will be Red Rover all over. He's in the running to win the $200 voucher for the excellent, thanks to FIVEAA restaurant with its steward, Nick Xenophon, in the studio with us this morning.
I'm one of 3.
One of 3.
Yeah.
So you're not going by steward?
No. I'm more like Manuel from.
Okay. Well, that works. That works.
Just, you better hope I don't serve you, because
No, I think that should be part of the prize.
You wear the octopus down your front shirt.
Nearest to the pin. When's the test going to end? Let us know. 8223 0000 is the number. It's just one of a number of big events that are on Adelaide today. The second stage of the Tour Down Under starts in Nord, and I actually did this drive recently, Nord to Lobethal, and I was exhausted in the car. I don't know how they do on a bike.
Why did you have a pedal car?
It's a lot of winding, there's a lot of concentration.
I know.
It's a tough drive. Honestly, it's an incredible feat of endurance to be able to ride it. Robert Breer is the Mayor of the City of Nord, Payneham and St. Peters. Mayor, good morning to you. What are you guys doing there in Nord that manages to get all the major events? You've got the Gather Round there again for another year. You've got the Tour Down Under stage. Can you pack anything else into the Nord schedule for the next 12 months?
Oh, good morning, Will and Nick, and Happy New Year. We're very fortunate to have these very high-quality events on the parade, and I think as South Australia's premier main street, it's a mile long, it's wide, it's a tree-lined, it just lends itself to these sorts of events that attract thousands of people. So we're very privileged to be able to host a start or finished, or host a start in today for the 15th time as part of the TDU. So yeah, we're very lucky.
What's happening in terms of the events on the street? I imagine they'll get a big send-off.
Look, they will get a big send-off. I mean, obviously, after last night's storm, it'll be a different environment today, much cooler today after some wet weather, but it'll still bring the crowds out. Generally, Will and Nick, they don't start to come to about sort of 9, but it's really that last 30 minutes, 45 minutes before the start of the race where they just swarm out of the cafes, and it's generally 10 to 15 deep from Portrush Road to Osmond Terrace on both sides, so it's a massive crowd.
Sounds. Mayor, it's Nick here. This is a very personal question. What do you look like in lycra?
I've never dared to have a look, Mick, and I think I'll stay away from that one. Look, to be perfectly honest, I haven't hopped on a bike for a while, but look, I love watching the race, and I love the atmosphere that it creates, and obviously it's a fantastic draw card.
I can't wear lycra
for international cyclists, but I'll give that a wide berth, I think.
But I think one thing we know about lycra wearing is that people not being able to wear it doesn't necessarily prevent everyone from wearing it anyway.
That's right.
That's part of the joy of the Tour.
I won't wear it. I'd rather just put up with the chafing.
That is true, but I know my personal weaknesses, so I won't reveal them.
Robert Breer, thank you. All the best for today. It's going to be a terrific event. Always is. It is a good spot. The Mayor of the City of Nord, Payneham and St. Peters, said Nord, the parade is Adelaide's premier street. Premier street.
Other mayors might be ringing in.
Oh, I just want other people to ring in. What is Adelaide's premier street? 8223
Parade's pretty good.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
We have listeners. Vouch for your local premier street. What else is in the conversation, folks? 8223 0000 or text us on 0480 08 1395. Adelaide's Premier Street. Is it the parade, like the Mayor says? Ken has called in. Morning to you, Ken.
Saturday at 2:05pm.
Saturday at 2:05pm. You think the test will be over? You getting along?
No, I can't. Will no.
Oh, that's a shame. You'll be watching along. Saturday, we'd take Saturday mid-afternoon, I reckon, don't you think? You get 4.5 days of cricket?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, would be a good result. Good on you, Ken. You're in the running to have Octopus dropped on you by Nick Xenophon as part of the major prize today. The $200 voucher to thanks to FIVEAA.
And maybe some sauce with it as well.
Yeah, some sauce with it as well. It sounds delicious all the same. 20 to 7, we're going to check traffic and come back with police and weather in just a moment. Novita Tech can support you to live more independently. The summer sale is on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
Good morning. In the city, roads are closed for the tour down under on Victoria Square between Green and Wakefield Street. Also in Woodside on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street, and in Norwood on the Parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. In North Adelaide, roads are closed in parts of War Memorial Drive for the cricket from 7 this morning until 7 tonight. Get your crew going away. From conferences to sporting, special interest trips to school excursions, Flight Centre's group travel gurus have you back. Visit flightcentre.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Kluger 7-seat SUV is here to move your family and to move you at Jarvis Toyota's brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. It's an SUV that knows you expect practicality, but want luxury and beautiful design too. There's no need to wait for the kids to grow up. You can have your dream car now. Take a test drive of the Kluger SUV today at Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park. Proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
Is your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable? Introducing new Caruso's Bloaties. Caruso's Bloaties contains peppermint and ginger, which are traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to relieve belly bloating, plus digestive enzymes to help your body digest lactose and fat. So if you're fed up with your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable, try Caruso's Bloaties today. Caruso's Bloaties is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
If you're always the one taking the photo, to avoid being in the photo, and selfies are something other people do, Next Smile Australia can help. Get a new set of long-lasting teeth you'll want to show off, and get them fast in as little as 1 day, thanks to Australia's leading all-on-4 dental surgeons and clinicians. Get the smile of your life with Next Smile Australia. Book your complimentary consultation now at nextsmile.com.au.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
17 to 7, coming in thick and fast now. Predictions of when the test will end. It starts today. First ball after 10 o'clock. Dave from Alberton says the last ball will be 12:10 on Saturday. And Dave, you now are in the running for the Thanks to FIVEAA voucher as well. Let's head to the Weather Bureau. Not going to be a problem test-wise, but it's an intriguing couple of days weather-wise. Jenny Horvat is on duty. Jenny, we're in a bit of a cool trough between the return of the heat.
Yeah, that's right. We've had that change move through yesterday. We saw a little bit of precipitation fall yesterday evening. Most of that sort of a little bit up around the hills through there. So on the plains we saw around sort of 5 to 10 millimetres and around sort of 10 to 15 about the hills. So a little bit more through there, but that seems to have all passed now. A little bit of cloud around this morning, but we should be clearing to a mostly sunny afternoon. But yeah, temperatures a little bit milder than we have been experiencing. We are looking at a top temperature in the city of around 23 degrees, 25 for Elizabeth, 23 along the coast, 21 for Mount Barker. Currently 15.4 at our West Terrace Night Apira observation site, and we did have a minimum temperature of 14.2 at about 2 a.m. this morning. We will still maintain that ridge of high pressure, so that's going to keep us a little bit on the cooler side for the next sort of couple of days, but it is warming up relatively quickly. So Thursday, again, we are looking at maybe a little bit of cloud around, maximum temperature of around 25 degrees, but it should be mostly sunny by Friday. Temperatures back up into the high 20s there, around 29 degrees, and then as we head into the weekend, we'll see those winds shifting a little bit more northerly, so temperatures back into the mid-30s and sunny conditions there, around 34, 35 degrees. A little bit of uncertainty as we head into next week, but looks like a dry start and temperatures again maybe in the mid to high 30s.
Good on you, Jenny. Thank you for that. Jenny Horvat from the Bureau of Meteorology. Real hot start to next week. Let's head over to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us. Kimberly, a woman was arrested last night after a supermarket theft at Kilburn.
Yeah, that's right. Police were alleged that about 8 p.m. last night, patrols were called to a supermarket on Churchill Road at Kilburn after reports that a woman had threatened staff with a knife before trying to leave the store with a trolley full of items. Apparently that trolley also contained stolen items from another shop within that centre. Thankfully, nobody was injured. The woman did leave the trolley behind and walked away, but police attended and located her in nearby Kintore Avenue. So that woman is a 28-year-old from Kilburn. She's been arrested and charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of theft, and also carrying an offensive weapon. So she's been refused bail, and she'll appear in the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court today.
And Kimberly, there are some road closures in place with the tour kicking off from the Norwood Parade this morning.
Yeah, that's right. It's the men's stage 2. That's Norwood to Lobethal, so it'll start at 11:10 this morning, but we've got some hard road closures in place, which already they've started at 6 o'clock, and particularly at the parade at Norwood, they're going to be in place until at least 2:30, along with Edward Street and George Street at Norwood, and then finishing at Lobethal probably just before 3 o'clock this afternoon they'll finish. So the main street of Lobethal will also be closed from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Tonight, so just avoid those areas, and otherwise it'll be rolling road closures and hopefully not too much disruption to the public.
Absolutely. Good on you, Kimberly. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad from SAPOL, labelled by the Mayor, the Premier Street in Adelaide, the Norwood Parade. We're happy to take nominations to the alternative. We're getting plenty of people suggesting when the test will end to be in the running for the Thanks to Theo voucher. Also, we're on the lookout for anyone who's done themselves a mischief by having a tangle with a swooping magpie, like Nick did. If you suffered an injury getting swooped, maybe you didn't. Maybe you'd had some sort of Matrix-style moves and got out of the way.
I shouldn't complain. Just reflecting on what Kimberly said, you're a shop assistant. Imagine you're a 16-year-old shop assistant and you've got somebody with a knife, brandishing a knife. That would just be beyond awful.
Just horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. You're absolutely right. Rain McGill's called into the program. Morning to you, Rain.
Good morning, guys. Look, I'm thinking around stumps on Saturday.
Okay, so
5 o'clock Saturday.
5 o'clock Saturday. Yep.
Clearly, if the West Indies bat first, obviously my ticket will be confetti immediately. So I'm hoping Australia bat.
You getting along, Ray?
Hopefully on Friday if it's still going.
What do you think of the test being at this time of year now?
Well, the fact that it's on a Wednesday, not at night, is disgraceful, obviously, and that we're playing the Windies twice in a row is also disgraceful. This time of year, I don't mind. It's okay. January, yeah.
Good on you, Ray. Thank you. John and Woodcroft, good morning.
Hi, Will. Nick, I reckon end at Saturday about 2:30.
Saturday at 2:30. There's not a lot of people suggesting it's going to go the full 5 days. John, what do you make of the timing of the test? You a fan of it, or do you prefer the way it was?
I'd prefer it started on a Friday, but there you go. Yeah. I'm only me.
No, but you might not be alone, and you might not be wrong, John. Thank you. I mean, there is a danger, albeit a slim one, depending on who bats first, that it ends before the weekend, which would be an absolute, complete nutter disaster. We're going to cross to the US in just a moment. We're going to be chatting with Miley Hogan for 7 News in Iowa, where one of the headlines has been the temperature. There's been a cold snap across much of North America.
-16 in Des Moines.
Minus 16 in Des Moines right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to pronounce it Des Moines, but apparently that's not how you say it.
I don't know if we've got any Iowans?
Yeah.
Iowans?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Anyway, but it feels like minus 26 according to the Weather Bureau there.
I'm not sure how the Bureau went in predicting the weather, but I think all the pollsters forecast the Iowa caucus result fairly accurately. It was Donald Trump in the end who got it with 51%,
which was,
an absolutely dominant performance. That won't shock anyone. There was a significant downturn in the number of people turned out because of the weather, but it doesn't seem like the sampling it didn't change the result.
What did Donald Trump say? It doesn't matter if you're going to die.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Vote,
and it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Well, Miley Hogan is in Iowa. Miley, let's talk about the weather first. What's it been like with temperatures? I saw there was some weather advice that suggested if you go outside for 10 minutes, you can get frostbite.
Yeah, guys, look, it has been a really big feature of this this boat. I can only laugh because it is freezing. It's really difficult to explain. You step outside and it takes your breath away. When I first got here and I was stepping outside, I was coughing because the air was just so cold when I was breathing it in. It really does just cut straight into you. It's been temperatures of around minus 20 with a wind chill in some areas of the state down to minus 40.
Oh.
That is degrees Celsius. Has been freezing. But last night for the vote, it was around minus 30 with that wind chill. So just absolutely extreme conditions that people are going out in. This part of America, people are used to that cold weather, but not this cold. It was the coldest caucus night on record. It was cold.
It's always significant it being at the first caucus in the Republican primary season. Everyone tries to claim a sort of victory. Ron DeSantis happy that he came in the second spot. It's impossible to ignore the incredible power of that Trump number. What's the fallout been in terms of where the race goes to from here?
Yeah, well, you can't ignore that Donald Trump has made history here. He's won that with the biggest margin of a Republican candidate in the history of the Iowa caucuses. Ron DeSantis did come in second place. Now, that was a surprise in the polls. Nikki Haley was looking like she was going to edge him out and come into second place, but she's just come under in third place. It will be interesting when they move to New Hampshire. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are already on the ground in New Hampshire campaigning, because that state is traditionally less conservative, the voters there. So that might be where Nikki Haley can come up into that second spot. The main part here for this is that it gives candidates momentum and also gives them a chance for donors to give them more money to continue with their campaign. So it will be important for Ron DeSantis to perform well in the next state, or that might start to drop off. And Nikki Haley is expected to perform well in that state, but Donald Trump is also expected to perform well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep the momentum following on from Iowa.
Miley, it's Nick here. If Donald Trump managed to get, because there's a different voting system between Iowa, which is a caucus system, it's very different from the traditional primary, as I understand it. But if Donald Trump cracks 50% in New Hampshire, for instance, it's really game over, isn't it, for the Republican nomination?
Well, look, he's looked all but ready to clinch this nomination to be the Republican candidate that will go on to take on Joe Biden. I mean, the only thing I can say from experience is with politics, you just never know what could happen. Things there are always surprises, twists and turns, but he is the favourite to take this nomination and then be the likely candidate that will go on to take on Joe Biden and set up another rematch from the 2020. So that's what it's looking likely. And I think the really big takeaway from yesterday's result is that Donald Trump has all these mounting legal battles. Right now, today, he's in court in New York. And I think last night's results show that it hasn't deterred Republican voters from supporting him. Despite all those troubles, they still want him as their candidate.
I think it's encouraged them. His donations skyrocket every time he's indicted.
Yeah. Exactly. They use it to their advantage. It's really become one and the same. Those court cases are campaign stops. I mean, today he's at that one in New York. He doesn't have to be there, but he is there because he will use it to get in front of the microphones and use that language that we've heard him use before, that it's a political witch hunt and election interference.
Miley, great report. Thank you. Try and stay warm. How long are you in Iowa for?
I'm getting out of here tomorrow morning.
Well, hopefully somewhere warmer. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Miley Hogan for 7 News in the US. On the dominance of the Trump figure, we had some people say yesterday, well, why does anyone spend a cent supporting Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis now? And why do they bother staying in the race? And I guess the fullest of glass half full analysis would be Trump at 50%, if the other 50% represents people who don't want Donald Trump. And I don't think you can't say that definitively, but there would be conversations amongst the Haley camp and the DeSantis camp. If we want someone that's not Trump, the quicker the rest of you drop out, the better. Because we need to gather our forces.
But Haley and DeSantis won't drop out.
They're not going to drop out.
But if you look at them, I mean, look, Trump's natural. Whether you love him or loathe him, he's a natural on the hustings. He's quick-witted. He's quick off the mark. He's head and shoulders above Haley and DeSantis in terms of connecting with people. Like him or loathe him, he connects with crowds the way the others can't.
Why do you think, being in politics, you were good at this, connecting with people and saying things that both cut through and resonated with people? Sometimes. Normal people that aren't necessarily political tragics. That's Trump's one wood. That's his. Why do you think political aspirants and people going to politics often find it so difficult to talk in a sort of unguarded way or to speak to normal people?
I think they're scared. They're scared about being cancelled. They're scared about putting a foot wrong. I don't think Trump cares. I think he's just so ahead of the pack, and he's such an established brand. And doing The Apprentice all those years and gave him a foothold in the lives of people's living rooms. I think he's going to be the Republican nominee, and I think he's going to give Biden a run for his money. And I think there's a high chance that we'll have President Trump in a year's time. And that would be very interesting. Quite interesting is somewhat of an understatement, given some of the things he said, albeit he holds court in front of the cameras. Not sure what's to be taken literally and what is just entertaining. But America is a very interesting place. An important one for us here too. Sue in Christie's Beach has called in on the subject of Nick's best friends, magpies. Morning to you, Sue.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're well. I'm okay. Nick's stiffening up. I think his drugs they're starting to wear off. Hunter is toxic.
Oh dear. Uh-oh. Now, I've always heard that magpies recognise faces. This is true.
Up to 50, apparently. They're better than a politician, yeah.
So you're suggesting it's something Nick's done? He's slighted this magpie in some way?
Well, maybe because, I can safely say I feed magpies here.
Okay.
And I'm very close to the Christie Creek track, which is notorious for magpies swooping, and I've never, ever been swooped.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. One of my mates, walnuts, like crushed up walnuts, a little bit of walnut.
Yeah, just feed them anything. I give them dog food wrapped in up in a product called Wombaroo, which makes it safe for birds to eat.
You've cracked the code, Sue. And we love you, Sue, but this does feel a bit like victim blaming. Maybe it was thank you, Sue. Maybe it was a pokey barren magpie. I mean, have you ruled out some sort of previous entanglement?
No, I thought it might have been John Olsen, but
in bird form.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's got those powers yet. Would have come back as a crow, I guess, not a magpie if it was John Olsen. 5AA News is coming up. The Prime Minister very shortly. Anthony Albanese will join us on 5AA Breakfast. We'll go around the courts with Sean Fuster in the next hour. We're going to chat with Damien Hoff, the head curator at Adelaide Oval. He'll have some more information, I suspect, about how the pitch will play, which is all important in our nearest to the pin competition this morning. We were asking you when the test will end. So many texts coming through with people staking a claim at the time of day. Over the next 5 days, you expect the test will wrap up. We'll take your nominations right through until 9 o'clock this morning.
There's a beautiful dinner at the end of it.
Beautiful, $200 at the excellent thanks to FIVEAA on East Terrace.
East Terrace.
Magnificent. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with the Prime Minister shortly.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 plate clearance sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
When you want a retractable door screen, you want uninterrupted views and natural ventilation combined with protection from insects. You want Phantom Screens. Our custom-made retractable door screens can be colour matched to your existing decor and span up to 7 metres wide. And they disappear out of sight when not in use. A screen that's there 1 minute, gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, let the fresh air in with Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
Hey Dave, ready to get back to work?
Well,
I'll take that as a no. You should go to Toolkit Depot. It's the ultimate back-to-work tool shop for tradies, and they're open 7 days.
You've made my day, Gaz.
Made your year more like. Toolkit Depot. Everything you need to get back to work.
Discover your dream destination with Phil Hoffman Travel. Now is a great time to plan your next holiday with great value prices across Singapore Airlines business and economy class fares. Fly economy class return to Europe from just $1,955 or business class return from $7,290. Explore the world in 2024 with Singapore Airlines. Hurry, offer ends January 27th. Select travel dates and T's and C's apply. Phil Hoffman Travel, pht.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettick.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Australia will deliver $21.5 million in humanitarian aid to the occupied Palestinian territories, including Gaza. The foreign ministers in the region for diplomatic talks as the war between Israel and Hamas rages on. Penny Wong says the funding will be put towards easing the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
The funding will be directed to conflict-affected populations in the occupied Palestinian territories and also to address the protracted refugee crisis, which Jordan plays such an important role in, with a focus on women and children, and will involve $4 million to the Red Cross and Red Crescent.
While the US says it's seeking to de-escalate rising tensions in the Middle East despite fresh strikes on Yemen in response to rebel attacks in the Red Sea. Officials say 4 anti-ballistic missiles in Yemen have been destroyed in recent days, and weapons supplied by Iran bound for Houthi militants have also been seized. US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says they aren't looking for a regional conflict.
Through a combination of steady deterrence and steadfast diplomacy, we seek to stop the spread of conflict and to create the conditions for de-escalation. Our approach is and remains focused on moving towards greater integration and stability in the region.
A 28-year-old woman's facing a range of charges after attempting to steal from 2 stores at Kilburn. It's alleged she tried to leave a supermarket on Churchill Road with a trolley full of items without paying. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says she pulled out a knife when challenged by staff.
Apparently that trolley also contained stolen items from another shop within that centre. Thankfully, nobody was injured. The woman did leave the trolley behind and walked away, but police attended and located her in nearby Kintore Avenue.
She'll face court today. The number of construction and manufacturing businesses going bust is rising sharply. Data from the company's regulator shows 458 building firms and more than 2,000 manufacturers went into administration last financial year. That's significantly higher than the previous year's figures. SA is one of Australia's most affordable cities when it comes to a school education. That's according to Futurity's Education Index. CEO Sam Sondy has been doing the sums for a child starting school this year.
Adelaide, if I look at Metro, is affordable relative to other states, particularly when we talk about government education. If I look at the most expensive state, it's Victoria, with costs of around $110,000 over the life of primary and secondary education, whereas South Australia is sitting at around $88,000 over the same period.
Adelaide's Sarah Snook has added an Emmy to her award shelf. The actress recognised for her work on Succession. She thanked her young daughter during her speech.
The biggest thank you, I think, though, is to someone who won't understand anything that I'm saying at the moment, but I carried her with me in this last season, and really it was her who carried me. It's very easy to act when you're pregnant because you've got hormones raging, and
Now turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. South Aussie Thanasi Kokonakis is through to the second round of the Australian Open, where he'll now meet 13th seed Grigor Dimitrov after advancing in a 5-set epic against Sebastian Offner in a match that lasted almost 4.5 hours. Meantime, a home crowd-inspired comeback carried Ajla Tomljanovic to victory last night over Croatian Petra Martic.
I really didn't think at 1-4 in the third, 2 breaks down, it was going to happen, but yeah, the crowd really pulled me through. I mean, staying so late, and there was a few kids behind me every change of ends, like saying things that were just so cute. So I was like, okay, I gotta give it a go.
Yeah, great stuff. Alex de Minaur's in action today, while tonight Alexei Popyrin faces defending champion Novak Djokovic. Well, Australia will take on the West Indies in a test match starting at Adelaide Oval later this morning. The Windies side will feature 3 debutants, while the Aussies will have a different look, with Steve Smith to replace Dave Warner at the top of the order. Skipper Pat Cummins telling Rowie and Timmy G Warner is not easy to replace.
So I think he's going to be a big personality that we miss, and above all that, yeah, you talk about his runs and his catches and his run-outs and everything that he brings to the cricket side of things. So huge personality, we're going to miss him. Absolutely love playing with him.
Cam Green will take Steve Smith's old spot at number 4. Well, stage 2 of the Tour Down Under will begin in Norwood this morning before finishing in Lobethal. Aussie Sam Welsford to wear the leader's ochre jersey. The Socceroos will train today ahead of tomorrow night's Asian Cup clash against Syria. In today's action, Thailand beat Kyrgyzstan 2-0, while Saudi Arabia got over Oman 2-1. And third round FA Cup action is on right now. It's half-time with Bristol City currently 1-0 up against West Ham, while Wolverhampton and Brentford are locked at 1-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
In the city, roads closed for the Tour Down Under on Victoria Square between Great and Wakefield Street. Also through Woodside on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street. And in Norwood on the parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. In North Adelaide, roads are closed in parts of War Memorial Drive for the cricket until 7 tonight. Check your speed, Kelly Road, Modbury. Wouldn't you rather be driving the #1 selling vehicle in Australia, Ford Ranger? Discover all the reasons why the Ranger is Australia's favourite only at your local Ford dealer. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 25, mostly sunny Friday, 29 and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
7 after 7, fun first hour on the program. Great having Nick in the studio, under sufferance as it is with his back injury.
The magpie-induced back injury.
The magpie-induced back injury. Got to be careful blaming magpies in this town, though, Nick. On this program too. You know, we've got our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd and others listening. Just, it's not all magpies.
Just cancel.
It was just that magpie.
Just cancel.
You've been cancelled. It's only been an hour. You can't get cancelled in an hour. Maybe this hour you might. Coming up this hour, Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts. Going to speak with Damien Hoff, the head curator at Adelaide Oval. Lots of people putting in their bids for when they think test will end. It, of course, starts at 10 this morning. The Tour Down Under in Nord after 11. Big day in Adelaide. Big day too with the arrival of the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, in town. And he joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Prime Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Why are you in town, Prime Minister? So you can disabuse our listeners of the idea that you're here just to catch the test.
No, well, I won't be going to the test. I'll be travelling from Adelaide across to Hobart straight at lunchtime. So I'll be visiting a TAFE with Louise Miller-Frost and the State Minister as well. Just meeting students who've been graduates of the fee-free TAFE we put in place last year. This has been incredibly successful. We committed to 180,000 fee-free TAFE places, and we delivered 300,000 places, and we'll be meeting some of those who began their apprenticeship last year in electrical and in carpentry. And, of course, we know that there's been these massive skills shortages built up over a long period of time, and it's made an incredible difference to them, whilst, of course, providing cost of living relief as well by providing it for free.
Prime Minister, the dominant topic of conversation in federal politics, both around the country and indeed here too in Adelaide, has been the fate of the Stage 3 tax cuts. You've been steadfast in repeating your vow to uphold the election commitment to keep the Stage 3 tax cuts in. That comes against a backdrop of polling like that conducted by the Australia Institute that suggests 70% of Labor voters would favour either scrapping the cuts or amending them in some way. What's the argument you can make to people who vote for you and Labor Party members who like you and dislike this policy about the importance of the Stage 3 tax cuts?
Well, we haven't changed our position. Tax cuts are important to provide relief for people. At the moment, these cuts cut in at $45,000. That's not a wealthy position, far from it, of course. And we think that given cost of living pressures, the beginning of the next financial year is the right time to bring in income tax relief, and that is what we will be doing. We've had a range of targeted measures to take pressure off cost of living, cheaper childcare. The fee-free TAFE is one of them, as well as cheaper medicines and our energy price relief plan that have all made a difference. Inflation's heading in the right direction. It fell to 4.3%. We were heartened by that. But there's more work to do to make sure that we win the fight against inflation, because that is having an impact. And as well, of course, we're taking action to ensure that supermarkets are held to account. We want consumers to get their products when they go to the supermarket checkout at the cheapest possible price.
Prime Minister Nick here, a lot of economists are saying Stage 3 tax cuts could fuel inflation. What do you say to that? What do you say to those economists?
I say that the amount of tax cuts that has been legislated has been factored in already by Treasury and Finance and by the Reserve Bank of Australia. So that has been factored in to all of their considerations.
You spoke just a moment ago, Prime Minister, of the ACCC's pursuit of supermarkets ripping people off with regard to price gouging. You know, and this comes against the backdrop of the cost of living crisis we're in at the moment. And you've alluded to increased powers that you give the ACCC. How concerned are you about price gouging by major supermarkets, and what are the scope of those increased powers that you'd give the consumer watchdog?
Well, I am concerned. One of the things that Dr. Craig Emerson is looking at is whether the current voluntary code of conduct that the supermarkets are a part of, that they basically run themselves, should be turned into a more mandated form of code of conduct. And that's one of the things that we're giving consideration to, as well as the ACCC giving consideration as to whether they need or require or would ask for more powers. What I've said is, if the ACCC asks for further powers in order to take action, then my government would be willing to do that. I know they're examining it very closely, because people are really concerned that when you've seen a drop in prices that are paid to farmers, like our sheep farmers, that hasn't flowed through as quickly as it should have to a reduction in prices at the checkout. And that is what is being examined.
So, Prime Minister, the paddock to plate price differential seems to be growing. Farmers are getting less, supermarkets are getting more. Don't we really need a mandatory code to have the teeth to really put the big supermarket chains on notice?
Well, that's precisely what we're looking at, Nick. And you, during your time when you were one of my colleagues were a strong advocate for consumers, and we want to make sure that consumers are looked after.
Can I just go on one consumer issue? It's front page story in the Sydney Morning Herald about about scam victims, more and more scammers. As a lawyer, I've acted for people who've been scammed, lost their money, and I've had to fight with the banks to get their money back. In the UK, completely different set of legislation framework where the onus is reversed. It's much easier if you've been scammed and a bank has handed the money to the scammer to get your money back. whereas here, something like 98% of customer scam losses have been reimbursed. In the UK here, 95% of Australians don't get their money back. Any thoughts on that's a big issue for consumers?
Well, it is a huge.
Is there any plans to copy the US, to copy the UK, to look at a UK type system where it's much easier for consumers to take on the banks to get their money back?
It is a huge issue, and Stephen Jones, the Assistant Treasurer, has been holding forums right around the country, getting input, getting ideas, such as the one that you just put forward. Every one of your listeners who has a phone and is on or is on the internet will know that things pop up like at such regular intervals. This is a scourge, and so many vulnerable people being ripped off who've acted in absolutely good faith, and we need to make sure that they are protected. We also need to make sure, and through discussions like this are really important in raising awareness as well, so that people know not to just click on a link. Banks tend to not send spontaneous links to people, and the tax office, the same thing. And that is very important that people be protected. But we'll look at any measures that are possible in order to protect consumers, because that's our priority.
So you're open to the UK model? That's on the agenda then?
Look, I haven't examined the UK model, but I know that Stephen Jones is having a comprehensive look at what further measures can be taken in order to protect consumers. The cyber issue is important for individuals, and we know as well it's important cyber security for companies as well, with some of the hacks that have occurred from both domestic but importantly as well from foreign sources that represent a real threat to us and to our economic security.
Prime Minister, why has the Australian government opted to quite literally bury our retired fleet of Taipan helicopters instead of providing them as aid in Ukraine's fight for survival as they requested of us back on the 19th of December last year?
Well, look, we take advice from the Australian Defence Force, and the Taipans, of course, we know that there were issues with them, and there was a tragedy, of course, in the Whitsundays last year with a loss of life, tragically.
But the Ukrainians are on record as saying our risk matrix is a little bit different to Australia's, given we're currently fighting for our very survival.
Well, it's a matter of what parts and what equipment is available at any time, and we take the assessments from the Australian Defence Force. These choppers were reaching the end of their period of operation in Australia. What we have done is, just as a result of the advice after that tragedy, is just bring forward by a short period of time the end of operation that occurs. We have provided significant support for Ukraine, both military hardware, but also the training of troops, also aid, also support for Ukrainians being relocated here in Australia. And I'm very proud of what we have contributed, but we take the advice of the Australian Defence Force, not any other defence force, with regard to these operations.
Prime Minister, I understand that, but the Ukrainians are up against it. They've been the Russians are making some big gains in Ukraine. They're desperate. When do you think we can at least tell them yes or no?
We communicate very directly, including between myself and President Zelensky and the Ukrainian government. We have been very strong. We are not members of NATO, but we have attended the last two NATO summits. I've travelled to Ukraine to show very first-hand at the beginning or in the early stages of this conflict and we stand with Ukraine, and we'll continue to do so. And just last month, we had another additional package for Ukraine that we announced, making our contribution very significant indeed.
Prime Minister, great to have you in town today. Thanks for your time on 5AA Breakfast.
Thanks very much, and just stay in the spot, Nick, when our friend comes back, and see how Pembo deals with that.
He's done a good job, Nick. He's getting very, very comfortable. Albo, David better he's going to want to come back, I think. Fast.
He sounds good. It's the best interview on 5AA I've done for a long time.
I don't know if that's a good.
Since the last time when Pembo was on leave.
I think it's a backhanded compliment. I think.
Thanks, Prime Minister.
See you guys.
Anthony Albanese in Adelaide a little bit later today, not attending the test. We are getting lots of texts from people nominating times. The test will finish with the Thanks to Theo voucher on the line through till 9 o'clock today. We'll get to some of your texts, some feedback with our chat from the Prime Minister as well. That's all coming up. Let's check traffic first, though. Thanks to Novita Tech. They can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
In Croydon Park, a breakdown on the north-south motorway near Regency Road. In this city, roads are closed for the tour down under on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street. In Woodside on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street. And in Norwood on the Parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. In North Adelaide, roads are closed in parts of War Memorial Drive for the cricket until 7 tonight. OTR has all your entertaining needs covered this summer. Ice, gas, drinks and snacks, all available 24/7. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
The arrest of a man over a sexual assault, which occurred on a Seaford line train. Lindy's called in from Gawler, who used to be a train guard.
I'm disgusted in what I heard over the last couple of days. If there was guards on that train, that would never happen. It never happened on my watch. It never happened on any guard's watch.
Weekday mornings from 9.
I love my job very, very much. Just a minute. Just get upset.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your highly valued comic book collection or your 1976 Tirana in mint condition. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tires, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Norriutpur and Clare has always been well worth the trip, even more so with their 40th birthday sale. Steinborner has purchased over 400 certified vehicles, SUVs and 4x4s, all with free roadside assist, and ripped $500,000 off normal prices across the range with $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Plus deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishi. Visit steinborner.com.au.
Looking for style and security for your home? Gliderol Garage Doors have been doing this for 50 years. Now's the time to upgrade your home because when you order a new roller door, sectional door or custom designer door with an operator by the 28th of February, you'll receive a bonus $100 gift card to spoil yourself this festive season. If it's time for a new look for your home or to upgrade, do it now. Call for a free measure and quote and helpful advice. Visit gliderol.com.au today. Retail customers only. T's and C's apply.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
23 after 7, coming up after 7:30. Sean Fuster, he's in the building. He's out in the booth. Looking forward to chatting with him for the first time in 2024 shortly. Damien Hoff from Adelaide Oval. David Kosh will be on the show after 8 o'clock, and the Acting Police Commissioner, Linda Williams, will be on the program as well. Bit of feedback to the chat with Anthony Albanese on the text line, 044808 1395. John in Glenunga says, quoting the PM, energy price relief plan that has made a difference. He must be joking. Thank you, John. I don't think a lot of people feel as though their bills have come down. I think the federal government would argue, but they haven't gone up by as much as they could have in the absence of our relief.
That doesn't cut through.
That doesn't really work. No one cares. More waffle, says BJ. Jane, on the question you asked, and adopting the UK model with regard to compensating consumers if they've been scammed, says the banks at the very least should have a checking function when you transfer money. There's not even a name check to make sure you've got the right account. It's absolutely ridiculous. There must be a few of these that come across.
And having dealt with this and having litigated this, it's just so hard. And a lot of people just give up if it's for $40,000 or $50,000. I think we know they're going to be risking costs because they'll get cost orders against them if they don't win. The system stacked against us here. We really need to move to the UK system.
A few other texts with nominations when the test will end. Paul says the cricket will finish 6:23 on Friday. He says they'll play on late, so it'll extend beyond the 5 o'clock to get the last 2 wickets. Thanks, Paul.
Very specific.
Very specific. He's really sort of set down the script. And someone else says, it's Ryan. Ryan says, I'm tipping tea time on Friday. If so, unlucky to those that are planning on going along on Saturday, it would be. The Thanks to Theo voucher will be given away when we work out when the test ends, but the entries will end at 9 o'clock today. Let's talk a little bit about sport and reflect on what the sports show had on last night. Get $10 off your favourite cut of steak, Saturdays at the Excelsior Hotel. You just know it's a Barrow hotel. On the sports show, Australian captain Pat Cummins spoke to Rowie and Timmy G and talked glowingly about the Adelaide Oval.
Well, certainly the vibe around the group seems like it's absolutely flying, so there's no dramas there, which is great, and that's a real credit to your leadership. Adelaide, what's unique about Adelaide, and do you have a favourite moment?
I mean, in terms of favourite places to play around the world, I reckon this is just about top of the list. Home ground, SCG, had a great week there last week, but tell you what, this is right up there. The first thing that hits you is just the beautiful stadium. It's always green grass, just in beautiful conditions, and I reckon it's been just about the best wicket in Australia for my whole career. It's really consistent, good challenge between bat and ball, and it's always a good turnout, so it's a pretty good recipe for a great test match each year.
It is everyone speaks glowingly of the Oval. It must be one of the most successful redevelopments of any historic, beloved entity anywhere in the world. Often
they still get the hill.
They kept the hill. Yeah. They kept the character of the members' side with the old stands. I struggle to think of anywhere where there's been
Kevin Foley was behind that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and
huge.
If Kevin's listening, good on you, Kevin. That's a great legacy.
A massive win. Were you a proponent of the upgrade or a sceptic of it?
I don't know what I was back then.
Yeah.
I'm probably a skeptic. But look, I'm a sports tragic. Tragically, I know nothing about sports. But but you got to take. It is a beautiful development. I've been there not as many times as you have, but it's. I think we've got the balance right.
Yeah, it is quite wonderful. All right, Bob has called in just before we go to 5AA News. Morning to you, Bob.
Hello, good morning, boys. I reckon I'll be all finished by Saturday, 2 o'clock.
Saturday at 2 o'clock. There's a big cluster around that time. I think a lot of people suggesting that sort of around lunch, just after lunch, maybe on the fourth day. You getting along, Bob?
No, wife's not very well. No,
that's no good, mate. Oh, well, we hope she gets better.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay, then. Till 2 o'clock? Can I still be in at 2?
Mate, you're locked in at 2. You've got 2 o'clock. You own it, Bob.
Yeah, okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Good man. You could be eating at the excellent Thanks to Theo on East Terrace. It's coming up to 28 minutes after 7.
And I'll be serving.
You'll be serving. Now that's the real kicker. That's the real prize,
Manuel.
I think. Exactly.
Yeah.
5AA News is coming up. We go round the courts with Sean Fuster next.
Introducing the 2023 World Performance Car of the Year, the Kia EV6 GT. 430 kilowatts of power and 740 Newton meters of torque. With its unique Australian-tuned GT suspension and steering, the Kia EV6 exceeds all expectations. The Kia EV6 GT, the most powerful Kia ever built.
Kia, movement that inspires.
That's the sound of an absolute scorcher coming our way. And it's your reminder to check out the deals at Costa Air. Costa Air's consultants and installers are weather nerds. They have to be, because air conditioning is their business. They'll make the next scorcher feel like a bit of a fizzer. Join hundreds of Adelaide households and don't pay the higher price. Pay the Costa Air price. Go to costaair.com.au.
Remember when milk came in bottles? I mean real glass bottles. It somehow tasted better and it was better for the planet. That's why the Flurio Milk Company have partnered with the Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle. The reduction in single-use plastic bottles will be phenomenal. In the millions. Join the fight to reduce plastic and look for milk refill stations in your supermarket. Thanks to Flurio Milk Company and the Udder Way. Visit fluriomilkco.com.au for more.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years. But one thing remains unchanged, our passion to help people invest in their future, to build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Quiet, please.
Get up to 8 weeks free when you join on eligible products. T's and C's apply. Search Booper 8 weeks free today.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
Australia's pledging to spend an extra $21.5 million in aid to assist Palestinians in war-affected regions. The package will support refugee programs in Lebanon and Jordan, as well as provide food, shelter and emergency healthcare. Foreign Minister Penny Wong is in the region and says the support will be vital.
There is a dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza. There are millions, 1.4 million people in Gaza currently seeking shelter. The funding will be directed to conflict-affected populations in the occupied Palestinian territories and also to address the protracted refugee crisis.
And the US has carried out another wave of strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. US correspondent Jonathan Kersley reports.
US Central Command has confirmed 4 Houthi anti-ship ballistic missiles were destroyed in attacks in the early hours of the morning. Those missiles, it said, were prepared to launch from areas controlled by the Iran-backed militant group. Hours later, a Maltese-flagged ship was struck by a Houthi missile in the Red Sea. The tensions in the vital shipping lane have reportedly led to Shell suspending all of its shipments through that area, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Scammers are targeting some of the country's biggest fashion, food and entertainment companies. Hackers have purchased the online login details from overseas cyber criminals. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has told 5AA Breakfast the government's looking at what more it can do to protect consumers.
The cyber issue is important for individuals, and we know as well it's important cybersecurity for companies as well, with some of the hacks that have occurred from both domestic but importantly as well from foreign sources that represent a real threat.
As Term 1 edges closer, the cost of schooling's in the spotlight. Futurity's Education Index has found SA as one of Australia's most affordable cities, with 13 years at a government school coming in at around $88,000. But CEO Sam Sondy says there are lots of things to take into account when deciding whether to go public or private.
Over 80% of people are facing cost of living pressures and are signalling that this is causing household stress. Education costs are a big part of that. But the flip side of that is that the majority of parents surveyed, some 85%, said that education is a critical enabler and very important to the families.
Older Australians are being offered RSV vaccines to better protect against the respiratory virus. The jab's being made available to adults through private prescription. Immunisation Foundation of Australia Director Catherine Hughes says it's welcome news for many.
It means that we finally now have a way to protect adults over 60 from a debilitating virus. And this gives older Australians a chance to avoid an illness that sends many to hospital, an illness that sometimes takes away our time with family and friends, an illness that can make sport sport and hobby is really difficult to participate in.
Bali's popularity as a holiday spot's on the rise, now ranked the 4th overseas destination of choice for Australian travellers. Almost 118,000 headed to the island in November, topping numbers for the first time since COVID. Dr Sarah Gardner from the Griffith Institute of Tourism says it's a good, affordable holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the cost and the accessibility. Lots of airlines flying into Bali now. The cost of travel, not just the price of the airfare, but also when you get over there, the cost of accommodation, food, drinks and everything like that, really affordable for Australians.
And a small plane has crashed onto a highway in Chile, killing the pilot and 4 people on the ground. Vision shows the firefighting aircraft exploding into flames after hitting an overhead cable while tackling a blaze. Now turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Kendall. Let's start with tennis. Aussies Thanasi Kokkinakis and Ayla Tomljanovic have won their opening matches, making it 8 locals in the second round. The opening round has wrapped up at Melbourne Park with plenty of title contenders advancing. Craig Gabriel reports.
The session started with world number 1 Iga Swiatek scoring a 7-6, 6-2 victory over the 2020 Australian Open winner Sofia Kenin. Then 8th seed Holger Rune needed 4 sets to advance. Casper Ruud was the most one-sided winner of the day. He dropped only 5 games. Alexander Zverev and Grigor Dimitrov both needed 4 sets. Emma Raducanu says she's feeling fit after months on the injury list, and Carlos Alcaraz made quick work of Richard Gasquet.
To cricket now, Australia will be red-hot favourites for today's first test against the West Indies, which begins at Adelaide Oval later this morning. Meantime, it was a nail-biting finish in the Big Bash last night, with the Sydney Sixers winning off the final ball of their match against the Perth Scorchers in Perth.
This for the victory. Enriquez, the first commandment for Moses was to get bat on ball, and well may they celebrate, because no one beats the Scorchers in Perth.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Now that result means the Sixers finish in second spot and will play against the Brisbane Heat on Friday night for a place in the grand final, while the Adelaide Strikers will take on the Perth Scorchers the following night in a knockout final. Well, stage 1 of the Tour Down Under has been won by West Aussie Sam Welsford, despite a late charge from Caleb Ewan.
He's going to have a go. He's on the left of the picture now as he launches shoulder to shoulder. But the challenger, Miniam Domingo, it is Welsford on the line.
Audio there thanks to 7. Stage 2 will begin in Norwood later this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now onto the traffic.
Got a breakdown in Croydon Park on the north-south motorway near Regency Road. In the city, roads are closed for the Tour Down Under on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street. Also in Woodside on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street. And in Norwood on the parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. In North Adelaide, roads are closed in parts of War Memorial Drive for the cricket until 7 tonight. Check your speed, Smart Road, St Agnes. Mercedes is on now with savings on demonstrators and 3 years complimentary scheduled servicing. Visit your local Mercedes-Benz retailer today. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, more of the same tomorrow, 25. Mostly sunny Friday, 29 and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
23 minutes to 8. I feel like I've been taken behind the curtain of South Australia's legal fraternity in the last 5 minutes, sitting here. Sean Fuster's wandered in for Around the Courts. Nick Xenophon's here, and they're just exchanging old war stories. It's been absolutely magnificent. But they keep saying, we can't say any of this on air, so I'm sorry, but...
Well, look, when you're sharing a studio with one of the august members of the class of 81, you've got to be careful.
Right.
You've got to be careful.
I've just been schooled up on this. The people that frame law in this town.
We talk about conspiracies, we talk about the Illuminati, we talk about the Masons, but the class of 81 is where it's at, and Mr. X is like the peak of the class of 81.
Yeah, I'm like P-I-Q-U-E.
A fit of peak.
The Svengali of South Australian law?
I don't think so.
Oh, I like that. All right.
One of the hidden movers and shakers behind the scenes
So
that manipulate events.
So hidden I don't even know about it.
Let's go around the courts.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
Actually, you report usually on what the lawyers do, but Nick has been witness to your work in the courtroom. He
That's right.
was saying as well a few times.
I've been in court where he jumps in about a suppression order, because Adelaide's big on suppression orders, and there he is, the do-it-yourself barrister, the Bunnings barrister, I call him. Goes, "Excuse me, Your Honour." I say, "Yes, Mr. Fewster."
I'd like to apologise to Bunnings for that comment.
You might be able to get a sponsorship out of that.
Yeah. I think it's great. That you give the other lawyers, all the other lawyers that we're often on the same side, are squirming because who's this pain in the butt? What's he doing again? And the judicial officers have to humour you, but you win more than you lose.
Well, my favourite story about suppression orders is years ago I argued a suppression order that was being sought by a barrister from Sydney. He'd come over to represent somebody, and after the case finished and he failed in his suppression order application, he came over and introduced himself and shook his hand and said, it was a really good joust and everything. "Tell me, where'd you get your law degree from?" I said, "I don't have one."
Bunnings.
And he went, "Dear God, I'm not going to tell anybody that I lost today."
Well, it's good that you do win, so we get to hear about the things that are going on in our courts, and we get to talk about them here and now and in this segment. Unfortunately, today, it is a gruesome case that we learnt a hell of a lot about yesterday.
It is, and to be honest, I was very surprised that no suppression orders got thrown down after this. On the one hand, yet on the other hand, I can see what happened, because this was very much a case of be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. We're talking about Cherie May Glastonbury, who's one of 4 people accused of what they call the murder conspiracy surrounding the death of Jeffrey McLean. If you remember from last year, we talked about this. Jeff McLean, man living at Andrews Farm, vanished. His torso was found in a wheelie bin in the northern suburbs. The rest of his body, unfortunately, has not been recovered. 4 people were arrested. Cherie May Glastonbury, who is his former partner. Mark Murphy, who is allegedly Miss Glastonbury's partner. So we've got a triangle there. Mark Murphy's twin brother, Peter, who allegedly helped hide the body. And Peter Murphy's partner, Lynette Sexton, who allegedly helped her partner hide the body in exchange for the twin brother, in exchange for Glastonbury, who killed her lover. So it's quite the chain. There's also another man called Lloyd, who has pleaded guilty and been sentenced for attacking Jeff McLean prior to all of this with acid. He says that he did it at Cherie May Glastonbury's instigation. So now we've got a love quadrangle rather than a love triangle, according to the allegations. Up till now, it's been progressing through court in quite a complicated way, as it sounds like, but at the same time, under the usual sort of pace. Yesterday, Ms. Glastonbury applied for release on bail. She's been in custody this entire time, and Nick, I think you mentioned it as we were coming on air, one of the reasons that she wanted bail was because she says that her sleep apnea is not being treated properly in prison. That she's being held in an isolated area of the prison and
seriously.
She can't sleep properly.
I've got a spare sleep apnea machine if anyone wants one.
Donate it to the Department for Correctional Services.
Yeah, it works well.
Is that a legitimate reason to get sent back on home detention bail?
Well, to change channels for a minute, we saw Raylene Polymiatis last year get bail on allegations she murdered both of her parents by virtue of her diabetes apparently not being handled properly. So this is the new thing for lawyers to insist that medical care within the Department for Correctional Services is not up to snuff. Now, to be fair, I've heard a lot of people make that accusation. I'm not saying whether it's true or not because I simply don't know. I'm very fortunate to have never been in custody. But that is certainly what we're seeing used now.
Oh, okay, not yet.
Not yet. Such faith in me. I love this. Such faith in me.
Yeah, we're going to have to dig in deeper on the dark side of Sean Fewster, maybe at a different point in time.
But what happens, of course, when you ask for bail, as we've talked about on Just Lawful, is the prosecution gets to come out of the gates with everything they've got against you. And what we thought was going to be a fairly short bail application turned into quite a long one as the prosecutor basically took out this massive stack of papers, plopped them down on the lectern and started going through them one by one, talking about the fact that, according to all the evidence gathered, Ms. Glastonbury talked to people beforehand about killing Mr. McLean, saying, why won't he just die? And referring to him by names that we simply can't say on air. That she bullied and manipulated several of her lovers to be involved in this, that the guy that she's currently with and wants to get bail to live with is someone that she's been threatening with domestic violence, that they went out and bought cleaning supplies and hacksaws, and that the argument is that she allegedly murdered Mr. McLean with insulin, which seems to be the thing du jour at the moment. And one of the other accused walks in and finds him dead in a bed before they start taking him to pieces and dumping him in various parts around the state. It's got elements of so many different previous South Australian cases all rolled into one. And it's rare at this point in a case to hear a bail argument that is so fully developed. I mean, the Advertiser had to give it 2 pages this morning just to contain all of the information that the prosecution says is valid.
What's the test for the magistrate or the judge to determine whether that then is, because you're obviously not making a determination on guilt or innocence. Is it sort of on the preponderance of the evidence? Is it what's the turn of phrase we use to describe how strong that case needs to be for the bail to be denied?
So on a bail application, the prosecution case is entitled to be taken at its highest. So as a magistrate, you're allowed to assume for a moment that the prosecution can prove every single thing they allege.
Okay.
You then have to balance that against the safety to the community, the chance of flight, of running away, and the chance of reoffending, if the person may or may not reoffend, and the chance of them interfering in the investigation. And the prosecution came back and said, look, every single one of those is at large here. If she's released, she's probably going to interfere in the investigation. She's going to put people in danger. She's threatened her mother, who she wants to live with on bail. She's threatened her other lover, who she wants to live on bail, which is, I think, 4 lovers now, if we're counting. She wants to dispose of evidence because she's fighting in the district court to try to get possession of all the evidence again. And we've not found all of Mr. McLean's remains. She knows where they are. If you release her on bail, they might vanish.
So she didn't get bail?
Well, at the moment, your classmate, the state's chief magistrate, Judge Mary Lee Hreibel, has said, look, I want to get some more information from Prison Health Services about what's going on there, and then we'll compare that against what's been said, and we'll come back in 3 weeks' time.
That is absolutely extraordinary. So for 3 weeks she will be still in...
Without a CPAP machine, apparently, yes.
Without a CPAP machine.
Because they were saying in court the reason that she's actually being held in an isolation area is because she and Lynette Sexton can't be in the same place because that creates a security concern. If these allegations are proven, this woman is incredibly dangerous. If these allegations are not proven, then this woman is well and truly making some noise such that people are gathering a lot of evidence to try to use against her.
Sean, what do you do after hearing all this? You sit in court, you hear all these gory details. Do you go home and have a hot shower with a wire brush or something? Or what do you do?
Look, I'm very fortunate, as I've said before, that I've got an excellent home life. And as one of the JL listeners said to me recently, you really are a geek, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I do. I have a nice house full of nice things and nice people, and I just try to switch completely off. The thing that I always remember is Jeff McLean's family is out there. And they don't have a voice in all of this yet. There's information about their loved one that has been put out by the Defence Counsel that speaks ill of Jeff McLean. If I can balance those scales a little bit and keep the public discourse going by saying this is both sides of the argument, perhaps then they've got a little bit of ground to stand on, a little bit of comfort. It's not nice comfort because what we're reporting is horrible, but at least it works to go against the negative portrayal of Jeff McLean that's been put out there.
Sean, great to have you back on deck. Fantastic as always, and we look forward to another big year of going around the courts with you. The other thing, of course, that's back this weekend is Just Lawful, and for your many devoted listeners, I'm sure they'll be delighted because you left them with a cliffhanger over the summer months. Will it be resolved this Sunday, or is it an unfolding story?
The cliffhanger that Daniel and I left you with last year will be resolved on Sunday. But the case itself is going to go on because we're talking about Wei Lee, the student who allegedly murdered his mother and then fled overseas and then came back. There's all sorts of questions over this still. The cliffhanger at the end of last year was quite the curly one, right in the middle of cross-examination. We're going to pick up right from that point this Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
And I'm going to work on getting you an honorary law degree, senior advocacy. Now, it may not be from Adelaide Uni or UniSA or Flinders.
Home Depot.
It might be University of Timbuktu or somewhere near Niger, but I'll work on it. I think a PhD in law, an honorary PhD.
Dr. Fuster, gee. I'm a doctor of journalism. No,
we need to make this happen. Well, you're in the class of 81. You can make anything happen.
Well, I don't know why contexts are like in Niger at the moment. They've had a coup, so I think maybe there's a chance.
Did your guys get up or no?
My guys, I didn't have any guys.
Okay, right. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's check traffic. We'll be back with the curator of the Adelaide Oval on day one of the Adelaide Oval test in just a moment. Traffic first, thanks to Novita Tech. They can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
In Mile End, traffic lights are flashing yellow on Sir Donald Bradman Drive near the Hilton Bridge. In the city, the Tour Down Under road closures in place on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street, through Woodside as well on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street, and a few spots in Norwood, including the parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. North Adelaide roads are closed in parts of War Memorial Drive for the cricket until 7 tonight. Does riding give you a sense of freedom? Do you feel so connected to the road? If you love riding and want to keep riding, back off. Think road safety. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
At Coles, enjoy backyard barbies and dinner parties. With Coles 100% Aussie lamb loin chops at $16 a kilo. Our best price in 4 years. That's great value hands down at Coles. Offer ends January 28.
The sun is shining, so it's the perfect time to farewell hefty electricity bills and welcome a brighter future with NRG Solar. Unlock the power of the sun with cutting-edge solar battery technology that's backed by a rock-solid 10-year warranty, saves you thousands, and empowers you to control your energy usage like never before with a simple-to-use app. This summer, add value to your home and say goodbye to blackouts. Don't wait. Visit nrgsolar.com.au. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
Adelaide has just been voted one of the world's most desirable places to be in the world.
Yeah, Holiday Wonders is celebrating with a range of incredible new holidays, including first-class day trip experiences, one of which is a new Wild Africa safari at Monarto.
Now, Will, this experience includes a journey on board Monarto's new safari truck into the hippo habitat. I like that, hippo habitat,
yeah,
where you'll find Brindabella and Pansy strolling around the uncharted 65 hectares of the Etosha Wild Africa precinct.
Everything I hear about Monarto is so good. It looks sensational. They're building that new hotel there too. It's very exciting.
It's great.
Enjoy a bush morning tea surrounded by animals, and later a great cafe lunch. Other new Gold Class day outings this summer include amazing Coorong cruises, Lost in the Hills and Cruising the Murray tours, plus famous winery and hotel lunches.
So visit the Holiday Wonders website for more amazing new season Gold Class day tours, holidaywonders.com.au.
The Audi Summer Demonstrator Sale event is on now. Take advantage of exceptional opportunities on demonstrator models at your preferred Audi dealer. Until January 31, see website for details, T's and C's apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
9 to 8, playing closest to the pin this morning. The intrigue around the Adelaide Oval Test is, how long's this thing going to last? Do we get to the weekend? Do we get to Sunday? Do we have a single person in our nearest to the pin who's tipped a Sunday time yet? I think we had a text from someone that said it'll be a draw, so it'll be 6 o'clock on Sunday, but that might be the only one. Someone's just gone the high mark. But
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of Sunday action. Maybe Brad in One Tree Hill might have some. Morning to you, Brad.
Morning, boys. I reckon on Friday, 12 minutes past 3, she'll be all over Red Rover.
12 past 3 on Friday. Brad, you are locked in. Do you like Greek food, Brad?
Like what, mate?
Greek food?
Greek food?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, love it. It's a ripper.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Well,
thanks to Theo's waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a good prize. Potentially yours if the test does wrap up a little bit early. We're hoping that is not the case and we'll get a terrific contest and people get to enjoy the Adelaide Oval on Friday. But I'll tell you what, the man who will know more about how the pitch will play and how difficult conditions will be for the batsmen, what will be in it for bowlers, is our next guest, Damien Hoff, who is the curator at Adelaide Oval. Damien, good morning to you, man.
Good morning. How you going?
Good, mate. Hey, do you get nervous on the first day of a test?
Very. Very. Yeah. I'm playing it for some reason, but I get quite anxious. And probably 2 days out, I start to feel it. I don't know why. It never changes. It happens every year, so I take it as a good thing. And I must be just hoping for a good game. I don't know what it is.
Are you glued to the Bureau of Meteorology website?
I watch every ball bowled, and I'm very nuts. The game just doesn't go the way I want it. So too many runs, there's not enough runs. Too many wickets, so I'm thinking.
Well, what's the perfect amount of runs, and what's the perfect rate of of how you see a test match at Adelaide Oval unfolding? What are the markers you look for to say, no, we've nailed this?
We just want a contest, really. We just want a contest between bat and ball. So for Adelaide, I suppose since 2015, it's around, a little bit of seam early for the ball with the new ball, and then when it gets older, hopefully they can score runs and have a partnership. And we want spin to play a role. So ideally, I suppose all facets of the game can come out and shine at some stage. So I don't really get caught up on the runs or things like that, because it really depends on the quality of the players playing.
At what point then do you? What point do you relax? Do you get through the? Is it sort of the first? Do you need to see an oval of how the ball's carrying through, or is it at the first session? Is it lunch? At what point do you go? Oh no, we're okay. This pitch is playing well.
Probably 2 days.
Okay, crikey! You're on edge for what? 4 days then?
Yeah, probably once both teams have batted on it. So if both teams can have a bat and a bowl, we sort of we then know what's going on. You want to see both teams on it, and then you're pretty comfortable. So I'm not too bad these days, but I must admit, on the first half an hour, I'm a little bit edgy and just hoping it plays true and it's a fitting for the occasion that a test match deserves.
Has the summer, the weird weather we've had, insofar as it was predicted to be this long, dry summer, but we've had periods of rain and it hasn't really gotten hot until, in fact, this week. Has it made it more difficult to prepare the wicket with sort of conditions that have been not what we've had forecast?
There's always a challenge. So, you just got to factor it in. So you just got to, you don't look at the long range forecast because it's hard to get 7 days right these days. We look at the 7 day forecast. We're about a 7 day preparation, and we look at that and then try to get our timing right, and that's just based on what's the weather doing. So when it's hot, you need moisture. Moisture in the pitch is really important. So you make sure you get that right. There's just some key ingredients that are really important that you don't steer away from. And if you can get them right, get your timing right, hopefully it all plays a role. So the forecast is really critical, but it's just one of those challenges that you got to play up and try and do the best you can with what's getting chucked at you at the time.
Well, Damien, you've got, then I'm just trying to do the maths, you've got 2 days and 2 hours probably until you're starting to relax. So you're at the midpoint of your stressful period. So it's not too far away. And I think you should relax because the record speaks for itself. It's always a great wicket. We always love the Adelaide Oval Test, and I'm sure this will be no exception. Thanks for talking to us this morning.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you.
Damien Hoff, the curator of Adelaide Oval.
It would be nerve-wracking, though.
Completely. The whole world's watching.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an opinion. Whether you're a total
Everyone's an
nuffy,
expert.
everyone
Everyone's an
suddenly
expert.
becomes an expert. Yeah. Exactly right. Well, everyone's trying to be a bit of an expert this morning to work out how long this test is going to last. We're still taking entries for nearest to the pin. Trevor in Seaford's called in. Morning to you, Trevor.
G'day, mate. 11:05 Sunday.
Oh,
Now,
good one. We get to day 5.
Don't get too cocky about the opposition when you haven't seen them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nobody's seen Shane Warne once, and he come and put a ball from 6 foot wide and cleaned up the captain.
Yeah, that surprised Mike Gadding, didn't it? He was underestimating this young blonde bloke from Victoria. I think that's good.
Yeah.
And I hope you're right, Trevor. I hope we get a great contest. I hope we unearth some hidden gems of the West Indies. And
you watch, there's a couple of blokes there can bowl.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know what they've got because you haven't seen them.
Yeah, good call, Trevor. I like it. Let's go to Osborne. Bob, good morning.
Hi. I'm predicting Sunday at 2 o'clock.
Sunday at 2 o'clock. That'd be sort of a regulation test match. That'd be magnificent if we get there. You getting along, Bob?
No, I don't go to cricket.
You don't
but I'll watch it on TV.
Yeah, well, that'll be great. It'll be good watching for the next 4.5 days if you ultimately win, and then you can round out.
It might be 2.5 days.
It might be 2.5 days, yeah. But if Bob wins, it'll be 4.5 days, and then he can wrap it up by going to thanks to Theo. and getting served by Nick.
Maybe you wouldn't want to wish that on them. No, look, if they want me there, I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I think that's definitely part of the
I'll
attraction
put a
for the
little
prize.
pencil moustache on and say Manuel.
You as Manuel, I think, is completes the picture in a really nice way. We're 90 seconds away from 5AA News after 8 o'clock this morning. David Kosh will join us. We'll talk footy with Koshy a little bit as we get close now. What did Rowie say on Monday? We're 39 days away from that first game at Alberton between the Crows and Port Adelaide, the first trial game. So it's creeping up on us. Also, Acting Police Commissioner Linda Williams will join us after 8:30.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
This is your captain speaking. We trust you enjoyed your flight to Adelaide. Apologies for the delay, but I would like to do just one more flyover to take a look at these stunning Adelaide exposed concrete driveways. Apologies about the bank angle. Oh, there's one. Oh, I like the way it curves. Oh, there's another one with at least a dozen posties gathered around it. Oh, that's very strange. Oh, check out the incline on
Adelaide exposed concrete. Best on ground all year round.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Nooriutpur and Clare has always been well worth a trip. Even more so with their 40th birthday sale. Steinborner has purchased over 400 certified vehicles, SUVs and 4x4s, all with free roadside assist. And ripped $500,000 off normal prices across the range with $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Plus deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishi. Visit steinborner.com.au. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
The Foreign Minister has announced a new aid package for civilians impacted by the war in Gaza during a trip to the Middle East. More from Eliza Edwards.
Speaking from Jordan overnight, Penny Wong addressed the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza and pledged an extra $21.5 million in aid. That will go towards providing food, shelter and emergency healthcare to Palestinians. The Foreign Minister is now in Israel. She's met with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, who thanked Australia for its support in condemning Hamas's atrocities. She'll also meet survivors of the October 7 attacks.
While Shell is suspending all oil shipments through the troubled Red Sea after the US carried out another wave of strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. A mobility scooter battery left charging is being blamed for a fatal fire at a retirement village in Hillcrest. 83-year-old Trevor Fielden died in the blaze at the Crestview retirement village on Monday night. His wife, Grace, managed to flee with minor injuries. The federal opposition says government policies are to blame for a spike in the number of construction and manufacturing companies going bust. More than 2,000 construction firms went into administration last financial year. Deputy Liberal leader Susan Lee says that's 1,000 more than the previous year.
Critically important to our economy are our manufacturing businesses, and unfortunately 3 times more are going bust under Labor than they were under the Coalition.
Experts say it might pay to use different passwords for separate online retailers as more businesses are targeted by scammers. Gabriel Hodson reports.
Scammers buying stolen online login details from foreign cyber crooks have been bragging in chat groups about using strangers' money to buy booze, mobile phones and more. The activity is known as credential stuffing and involves pinching usernames and passwords from one company and then using them with another. A Sydney Morning Herald report says recently affected businesses include TVSN, streaming service Binge, Event Cinemas and Dan Murphy's. It's different to the large-scale data breaches we've seen elsewhere, as cyber crooks use one person's details to spend as much as they can, as quickly as they can.
Older Australians will soon be eligible to receive RSV vaccines after 25,000 people over the age of 60 were diagnosed last year. The virus generally affects young children and can result in pneumonia and respiratory failure. The jab will be available to adults through private prescription. Fresh off winning the first Republican presidential contest in the US state of Iowa, today Donald Trump's back in court. More from US correspondent Lauren Tomasi.
The campaign and the courtroom are increasingly becoming one in the same for Donald Trump, the former president arriving at a Manhattan federal court just hours after his landslide victory in the Midwest. This is a voluntary attendance by Trump in the second defamation case brought by writer E. Jean Carroll, in which a jury must decide the damages the former president should pay after making defamatory comments. It was last year that Trump was found liable of sexual assault against the writer. The next stop for Donald Trump and his campaign, along with his Republican rivals, will be New Hampshire, with the primary votes in that state now just 1 week away.
And Adelaide Oval's ready to cater for the influx of cricket fans from today when Australia take on the West Indies in the first test. 20 self-serve food and beverage checkouts are now operating at the Oval. Well, beverage options have become more environmentally friendly. Cans are a permanent fixture and plastic cups are compostable. Adelaide Oval CEO Nick Addison says they've also tried to keep price increases to a minimum.
We've been really pleased that we've kept most of our price increases below the rate of inflation this year. We believe we're the only Tier 1 stadium in Australia to have a pint of beer below $10.
Now turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis has survived a thrilling 5-set epic against Austrian Sebastian Offner in a match lasting almost 4.5 hours in the first round of the Australian Open. Things won't get any easier for the 27-year-old, who now come up against 13th seed Grigor Dimitrov. But Kokkinakis says he'll give it his best shot.
Yeah, Grigor's a hell of a player. Been doing this for a while and he's in some great form right now. But yeah, I back myself. You know, I hopefully can have your guys' support. The crowd's unbelievable. I think I've beaten high-ranked players before. I've lost to lower-ranked players. It's a number. It's about coming out on the day and playing my best tennis.
Audio there thanks to 9. There are 8 Aussies through to the second round, which begins today with Alexei Popyrin due to take on 10-time champion Novak Djokovic tonight. Well, all eyes will be on Steve Smith today, with the 34-year-old set to open the batting in Australia's opening test match against the West Indies, which begins at Adelaide Oval. South Aussies Travis Head and Alex Carey will also be keen to impress in their home test. Meantime, the Adelaide Strikers will play against the Perth Scorchers in a knockout BBL final after the Scorchers went down on the final ball against the Sydney Sixers last night, meaning they finished in third spot. The Tour Down Under will continue from Norwood today, with riders to complete a 142-kilometre stage heading through the Adelaide Hills. West Aussie Sam Welsford will wear the ochre jersey after taking out stage 1 yesterday. Briefly elsewhere, Italian football club Roma has sacked manager Jose Mourinho after a 3-1 loss to AC Milan. Meantime, wins for Thailand and Saudi Arabia at the Asian Cup. And in the NFL playoffs, Tampa Bay has defeated Philadelphia 32-9 in the wildcard round. The Buffalo Bills too good for Pittsburgh, beating the Steelers 31-17. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
In Mile End, traffic lights are flashing yellow on Sir Donald Bradman Drive near the Hilton Bridge. In the city, roads are closed for the Tour Down Under on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street. Also through Loberthal on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street, and a few parts of Norwood, including the parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. Cheeky Speed Gorge Road, Athelston. Save up to 40% off at Pet Barn with the Pet Spectacular Sale, or spot it cheaper elsewhere and they'll price match it. Ends Monday or while stocks last at Pet Barn. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 25, mostly sunny on Friday, 29 and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
8:08. Been great having Nick in the studio. He survived a tussle with a magpie to get here. I'm not sure who came off worse. Two tussles.
On 2 days.
You came off worse. Because the magpie, we don't know whether he's been to a physio or not, but we know you have been.
I've been to everything.
You've been to everything. It's been great to have you in. It's been a lot of fun. And we will continue to have fun because we've got still plenty of time to put people in the running with our nearest to the pin when the test will end.
I should put on a warm-up act to your warm-up act on Friday, which we can't talk
we haven't
about.
revealed what's happening
No,
on Friday.
I'm not going to reveal it, but that person's going to be a warm-up act for Pembo. Is he going to come back from Mexico?
Well, I mean, I have grave fears. He's in the happiest place he's ever been in on
So it's
Earth.
going to be from Tijuana or somewhere like
exactly
that.
right. He might broad. That's all the rage these days. COVID, we had to improvise. He might broadcast live each morning from Tijuana
with a couple of tequila shots.
The crime segment there, I'm guessing, would be a little bit more lively.
You may not even want to talk about it there.
Yeah, maybe you can't. Yeah, you might not be able to. No, thankfully here we enjoy the mornings in Adelaide where the top sort of policing stories and someone got a bike pinched or something or other. And it makes you very thankful about the place you live in the world.
Absolutely.
There is lots to talk about with the police. We'll be chatting with the Acting Police Commissioner, Linda Williams, after 8:30 today. Koshy's coming up as well. We're just going to get Koshy to gaze into the crystal ball for 2024. Last year, of course, cost of living was the dominant conversation, both politically and I think within people's households. Lots of sacrifices had to be made. What does this year have in store when you look at, for people that own their home, for the Reserve Bank on interest rates? What does inflation look like? What does the dollar look like? There's a whole heap of questions this year. We're going to put them all to Koshy.
And energy prices and petrol prices. I mean, if the Houthis still keep doing what they're doing in the Red Sea and it gets worse in the Middle East, what will that do to fuel prices? Will we see $2.50, $3 per litre petrol prices? Who knows?
It's 3 weeks to the journey going around the Cape of Good Hope as opposed to going through the Red Sea. I mean,
we don't have hardly any oil refineries left in Australia. Do we have any left? I think they're all shutting down.
I don't think
After
so.
Port Samuel? Yeah. So we're very vulnerable to that global supply chain.
Completely. 10 after 8, 8223 is our number. You can text us too on 044808 1395 or watch along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. If you're watching this time an hour ago, you'll note we were joined by the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, who we asked about the state of these Stage 3 tax cuts.
Tax cuts are important to provide relief for people. At the moment, these cuts cut in at $45,000. That's not a wealthy position, far from it, of course. And we think that given cost of living pressures, the beginning of the next financial year is the right time to bring in income tax relief. And that is what we will be doing. We've had a range of targeted measures to take pressure off cost of living, cheaper childcare. The fee-free TAFE is one of them, as well as cheaper medicines and our energy price relief plan that have all made a difference. Inflation's heading in the right direction. It fell to 4.3%. We were heartened by that. But there's more work to do to make sure that we win the fight against inflation, because that is having an impact. And as well, of course, we're taking action to ensure that supermarkets are held to account. We want consumers to get their products when they go to the supermarket checkout at the cheapest possible price. Just stay in the spot, Nick, when our friend comes back and see how Pembo deals with that.
He's done a good job, Nick. He's getting very, very comfortable. Albo, David better want to. He's going to want to come back, I think. Fast.
He sounds good. It's the best interview on 5AA I've done for a long time.
I don't know if that's a good.
Since the last time when Pembo was on leave.
I think it's a backhanded compliment. I think.
Thanks, Prime Minister. Seen some brave reviews coming in for your performance, Nick. A lot of people very happy on the text line 048083 1395.
Cheerio to my mate Sam on his way to Murray Bridge.
Yeah, he's happy too.
He's happy.
Yeah, good. That's what we aim to please. Aim to make people happy. We're going to chat with Koshi very shortly. Before we do, though, I want to revisit what was a really awful story that we learnt a little bit about with SAPOL early this morning. Just some preliminary details regarding an arrest that was made last night after a supermarket theft at Kilburn. Tom Johnson's covering the story for 7 News. Tom, for our listeners that weren't up early, just to bring them up to speed with what transpired in this really scary situation.
Good morning, Will. Well, yes, as you say, it would have been terrifying for the staff involved. So what police have told us is that a 28-year-old woman had tried to leave the Audi at Kilburn with a shopping trolley full of stolen groceries plus some items nicked from the Kmart next door. Now, the staff have rightly got involved and said, this is not on, but what's happened, she has apparently pulled a knife on them. So how scary would that be? So what happened after that is still a bit up in the air. We have heard second-hand that maybe there was a bit of a chase involved. Either way, the shopping trolley was left behind and police tracked her down in Kintor Avenue nearby, arrested her, and have now laid charges.
Gee, I'm guessing, the average age of your Audi staff member is not particularly old either.
No, exactly, and of course anyone who goes to work in, any kind of environment, but especially something like retail, you just shouldn't be put in those positions, so it's terrible.
I know, and you have shop assistants who worry about abusive behaviour, people being aggro with them, but this is a whole new level. A knife being pulled on staff, that's just shocking.
Just awful. Tom, thank you for that. Tom Johnson for 7 News. You'll see those pictures and we'll learn more, of course, over the course of the day about the nature of those charges and some of the detail of what did transpire there. The laws were tightened up a few years back, weren't they, with regard to abusive behaviour towards people in the service industry?
We do have a premier that used to be head of the Shoppers Union.
Yes.
He'd know all about representing his members.
So you'd imagine they would apply in a case like this.
Yeah, they would, but it's just at the way it's at the extreme end there, pulling a knife on people.
It's just awful,
and on it probably a 16 or 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, in a place that you wouldn't imagine you'd be particularly vulnerable, but where aren't you, I guess? It's just awful. Peter in Blackwood has called in. Peter vying for a chance to get along and be served by Nick Xenophon at his excellent restaurant, thanks to Theo.
Okay.
$200 voucher on the line if you can predict when the test will end. Peter, good morning to you.
Hey, Will.
Peter,
hey, Will, how are you? How you going?
We're good, mate. When's the test going to finish?
I'm putting down Saturday at 11:11 a.m.
Saturday at 11:11.
Very specific.
We haven't had 11:11 yet, so you can look that one in.
No.
Between 11 and 2 on Saturday is pretty popular.
Yeah, 11:11 Saturday. And actually, I'm from Coromandel Valley.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Peter. We've got you down here in Blackwood. Coromandel Valley.
Coromandel Valley.
All right. Good on you. Having an excellent morning there in Coromandel Valley. 15 minutes after 8, we can continue to take your predictions of when the test will end right through till 9 o'clock today. So still plenty of time. You can text us as well or call in at 8223.
Thanks to Theo.com will be waiting for you.
Thanks to Theo. Have the Euros.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Named after my dear old dad who passed away last year.
Yeah, it's a lovely tribute.
It's a lovely tribute. It's a big photo of, like a silhouette type photo.
People that work in it is a really lovely tribute. I worry though, Nick, because I speak to people who work in the restaurant and hospitality industry. It's stressful. You've gone from politics, high-powered law gig. What's the most stressful out of the three? Being a lawyer, a member of parliament, or a restaurateur?
Restaurant, by far.
Is it really?
You can't keep people waiting for their food. Just gotta make sure that calamari is just right. Can't be hard. Make sure the octopus is nice and tender.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure the charcoal is all fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose they're not directing complaints to an electorate office. They just tell you straight to face if anything was wrong. Not that there's, of course, anything wrong.
No. But we always aim to please and to improve things. So, but the lamb is always a hit, though.
Yeah, it is absolutely magnificent.
After 12 hours, you can't go wrong if you cook something for 12 hours.
Making me hungry. 16 after 8. We're going to check traffic and come back with Koshi very shortly. Novita Tech can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
In Mile End, traffic lights are flashing yellow on Sir Donald Bradman Drive near the Hilton Bridge. In the city, roads are closed for the tour down under on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street. Also through Lobethal on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street. And a few spots in Norwood, including the parade between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. Beaumont's demolition sale is on at Richmond, with basins, vanities and toilets discounted by up to 50% off. Beaumont's Clearance Centre Richmond, final ever demo sale on now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Joining us, our Australian captain, we love him, Pat Cummins. Pat, congratulations on the year.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, 2023 was a cracking year. I mean, when you look back at it, winning the World Cup against obviously every other team in the world, and same with the World Test Championship, it's pretty good.
Rowie and Timmy G.
As a captain, you're trying to manage all your resources. I feel like I've got the balance decently so far.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Thinking about a solar battery? Don't wait. Connect with NRG Solar and bring home a solar battery with a rock-solid 10-year warranty. Use the energy you generate during the day to store some for later, reducing reliance on energy providers and putting money back in your pocket. Experience blackout protection that'll save you thousands, all at your fingertips through a user-friendly app. Embrace 24/7 solar today. Visit nrgsolar.com.au. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
The glass bottle is back. FIVEAA Milk Company have partnered with the Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle. Look for milk refill stations in your supermarket, purchase your own glass bottle, fill it, take it home, drink it and bring it back to use again. No plastic, no waste. Just fresh FIVEAA milk in a glass bottle. It's like the good old days, but better. Look for milk refill stations in your local supermarket or visit fleuriomilkco.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
20 after 8, Koshy shortly. Nicole has called in on 87230000. Morning, Nicole.
Good morning. How are you going?
We're well, thank you.
That's good. Let me just turn off. I've still got the app on, it looks like. Let's get rid of that. So I'm calling about yesterday. I was at the supermarket and there was an incident with somebody walking out with a trolley without paying it for it again. And like you were just discussing about Audi prior to the break, this was a clear mental health and drug situation. They've had somebody that spilled their trolley, run out of the store, and the quite young staff, like you said, are following them out. And they don't know what to do. And I actually think the procedure for something like that is they're meant to just let them go. And the natural instinct is not to do that. So they're all chasing him out. But I think the larger issue here is why people are doing this. So we have a cost of living crisis, mental health. There are no programs or lack of programs to access. It's more of I would say, a health issue as well.
Well, we don't know the specifics of this case, but I think broadly, Nicole, you're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, it's a health issue, but then when people's safety is at risk, when people are being threatened with a knife, as in Kilburn, but we're not tackling the causes of that level of substance abuse, and I think it's something maybe we can ask the acting police commissioner about, because it's just a huge driver of crime.
We will do that precisely after 8:30. It's a great call, Nicole. In fact, we'll give you a unique Home Styles food voucher valued at $100. Get unique pies, sausage rolls and donuts from your local independent supermarket. Unique, it's time for something better. Adelaide Football Club and director of Compare the Market, David Koch. Good morning to you.
G'day, Will. Happy New Year. G'day, Nick.
Morning.
Good to catch up.
It feels Rowie came on Koshy at the start of the week with a stat that that blew me away. In one you're probably well aware of. It's only 30-something days until the first trial game, Port and Crows, and it got me excited for footy season. I imagine you're feeling the same way. And he made the point. It's one of the rare occasions where both sides kind of feel like they're in the mix this year. Everyone's optimistic in pre-season. No one's lost a game. What's the optimistic view of what Port Adelaide can and will achieve this year?
Oh, look, we're very optimistic, and that first trial game, we're very excited to introduce all the Crows supporters to the precinct and our new redevelopment, which will be open on February 9. So I'll buy you a beer when you come down and sit on the deck, Will. But yeah, we're like every team. We're pretty excited. Blind Freddie could tell you the gaps we had to fill to get better this year. That was in the ruck and tall defenders. We had a good trade period plugging those gaps. And touch wood, everyone's training well, a few little niggles here. If you don't have niggles in pre-season, it means that pre-season isn't tough enough, so you've got to expect all that. But they've come back in really good shape and really enthusiastic. New young leadership team with Connor and Zach and Sam Palpepper, Dan Houston in the leadership team. So, yeah, we're really optimistic. But as you say, everyone is in January. Talk to me in June.
Yeah, that's right.
Reality sets in by then.
It's a beautiful time of the year footy-wise. We wanted you to do, inspired by footy perhaps, give us some tips about the year ahead, not for football, but indeed for big picture sort of economic questions. Last year the national debate was dominated by the cost of living crisis. Yep. We had the Reserve Bank acting regularly to lift interest rates to combat inflation. Have you got sort of some big picture predictions of how you see things falling for the next 12 months?
Okay, January 31 at 11:30 in the morning, we'll decide a lot about what that big picture is going to be, because that's when December quarter CPI figure comes out. That will set the trend for what interest rates are going to do for the next 12 months. My view is that inflation will continue to trend down, not as fast as everyone expects. Interest rates will not go up any further, but they're not going to be cut anytime soon. There's a view in the markets that, hey, we might start getting interest rate cuts in the first half of this year. I think it will be well into the second half of next year. So for everybody, what you see is what you get.
Yep.
The good news is it's not going to get a whole lot worse than it is now. The bad news is it's not going to get a whole lot better anytime soon. So what you see is what you get. And we're going to have to continue watching every dollar we spend, because inflation, while coming down, will be slowing. It's not going to be at speed. That's why that December quarter CPI, I think, is just so critical in bringing a dose of reality to everybody on just how quickly prices are falling.
Koshy, do you think that making predictions is now even more unpredictable because of what's happening globally? You know, the war in Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East, the Houthis are blocking the Red Sea. If we have a supply chain issue in terms of petrol prices skyrocketing, or the situation in the Middle East deteriorates, that throws predictions out the door, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And, you can only, an old mate of mine, Nick, who is an economist, said, if you're going to forecast, do it one of two ways. Forecast so far into the future when people get there they've forgotten what you've said, or forecast often so you can keep changing your mind, which is why I love being on every Wednesday here on Five.
So next,
keep changing my mind. But you're quite right, and that's that underlines a really good strategy for everyone. What you say. You've got to build up your emergency fund in your own household. That might be using an offset account attached to your mortgage to put away any spare dollars in case we get another shock going forward. But at the moment, sort of petrol prices are pretty low and should stay low. They fluctuate on a regular basis because of short-term headlines and things like that. But over the energy prices, coal prices have come down a lot. Hopefully electricity comes down. The problem is only a third of our electricity price we pay is because of the commodity producing it. 2/3 is because the power stations and the poles and wires are just so out of date, no investment going into it. We're having to pay for that, for the investment going in.
And we're going to be mugged by reality on that eventually, aren't we, when we have to invest?
Oh, absolutely. And it's because of poor energy policy from both sides of politics over decades, and we're paying for it now as consumers.
Great analysis, Koshy, and we will give you an opportunity to change it completely next Wednesday if you so desire. That is,
I want to know what's happening with the Aussie dollar next week.
Yeah, we'll
be listening in.
Look forward to it.
Good on you, Koshy. David Kosh, the Economic Director of Compare the Market, the Chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club, and our guest on 5AA Breakfast each and every Wednesday morning over the course of 2024. Always great to chat with him. It's 29 minutes after 8. 5AA News is coming up. The Acting Police Commissioner, Linda Williams, will join us next.
Is your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable? Introducing new Caruso's Bloaties. Caruso's Bloaties contains peppermint and ginger, which are traditionally used in Western herbal medicine to relieve belly bloating, plus digestive enzymes to help your body digest lactose and fat. So if you're fed up with your bloated belly making you feel fat and miserable, try Caruso's Bloaties today. Caruso's Bloaties is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
It's a frightening thought, but what if you lost the capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Save with Samtas Seafoods. They offer delicious dinner inspirations to treat you and your family. This week, fresh garfish fillets are a bargain at $42.99 a kilo, or King George whiting fillets from $67.99 a kilo plus. That's a good price. Freshly cooked blue swimmer crabs, $25.99 a kilo. And did you know Samtas offer the largest variety of premium ocean-caught Aussie prawn meats and cutlets ready for your next amazing prawn dish.
They do an amazing job. You can feed the family on a budget with Samtas's unbeatable quality seafood deal. Snap frozen kilo packs of your favourite seafoods you can mix and match. Unchanged in 2024, 4 kilos for just $60.
Now that's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Pick up fillets and skinless and deboned snapper, dory, red emperor, barramundi, flathead, Atlantic salmon, and more. All to choose from in Samtas's deal. 4 kilos, just $60.
Even Spencer Gulf King prawns are included in that as well. So Samtas Seafoods, they're open 7 days. They're SA's king prawn, fresh fish, seafood and oyster specialists.
Factory direct with convenient on-site free parking. Samtas Seafoods, Richmond Road, Richmond, open 7 days.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 23 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
Australia's foreign ministers held meetings with her counterparts announcing funding to help civilians affected by the Hamas-Israel war in Gaza. Penny Wong's arrived in Jordan and will visit Israel, the West Bank and UAE. $21.5 million of humanitarian assistance will be provided. She says it'll include $4 million for the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement.
$6 million to UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Agency, in response to the flash appeal, and then additional monies for refugees programs in Lebanon and Jordan at a time of increasing regional stability.
While the US has launched a new round of strikes on Houthis in Yemen, it claims the rebels were preparing a fresh attack on commercial shipping in the Red Sea, while Shell is suspending all oil shipments through the troubled shipping route. A 28-year-old woman's facing a range of charges after attempting to steal from 2 stores at Kilburn. It's alleged she tried to leave a supermarket on Churchill Road with a trolley full of items without paying. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says she pulled out a knife when challenged by staff.
Apparently that trolley also contained stolen items from another shop within that centre. Thankfully, nobody was injured. The woman did leave the trolley behind and walked away, but police attended and located her in nearby Kintore Avenue.
New figures appear to show supply chain issues and soaring costs taking a toll on the building and manufacturing sectors. Data from the company's regulator shows more than 2,000 firms went into administration last financial year. That's 1,000 more than the previous year. Public or private? That's the question many parents ask themselves when it comes to their kids' schooling. Futurity Education Indexes calculated the cost of a child's education if starting school in 2024. It comes in at $88,000 for a government school, $196,000 for a Catholic education, and $288,000 for a private college. CEO Sam Sondy breaks down the figures.
When we look at an independent schooling, for example, tuition costs represent just north of 50% of the total basket of costs. When you look at the other 45%, it's everything from uniforms to devices, extracurricular activities, sports uniforms, musical instruments, etc.
A firefighting aircraft has crashed onto a highway while tackling a blaze in Chile. The pilot and 4 people on the ground have been killed. Vision shows the small plane hit an overhead cable before bursting into flames. And all roads lead to the Adelaide Oval today for cricket fans. Mel Usher has details.
Australia are taking on the West Indies in the first test starting this morning at Adelaide Oval. There's free travel on all regular Adelaide Metro buses, trains and trams. Casual parking will be available by the Oval, payable by card. Gates open at 8:30. The first ball is at 10 a.m. 20 self-serve food and beverage checkouts are now permanent at the Oval. The median transaction time coming in at under 14 seconds. While the beverage options are now more environmentally friendly. Plastic cups are compostable and cans have become a permanent fixture.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. A little bit more cricket because we know that first test between Australia and the West Indies gets underway in just over an hour. Australia red-hot favourites to beat the inexperienced tourists. Head curator Damien Hoff telling FIVEAA Breakfast it should be a typical Adelaide Oval wicket.
A little bit of steam early for the ball with the new ball, and then when it gets older, hopefully they can score runs and have a partnership, and we want spin to play a role.
To football now, Port Adelaide chairman David Koch says he's excited by the upcoming season. Koch telling FIVEAA Brekkie they've done well off the field and things are looking good on it as well.
Blind Freddie could tell you the gaps we had to fill to get better this year. That was in the ruck and tall defenders. We had a good trade period plugging those gaps. And touch wood, everyone's training well.
Meantime, the Crows will hit the training track in around half an hour's time at West Lakes. Let's go to tennis, and 8 Aussies are through to the second round of the Oz Open, including South Aussie Thanasi Kokkinakis, who won a 5-set marathon against Austrian Sebastian Offner. Meantime, women's world number 1 Iga Swiatek has survived a dangerous first-round encounter, the Polish star seeing off 2020 champion Sofia Kenin 7-6, 6-2. Swiatek says she's relieved to move into the second round.
It wasn't the easiest first round. She played really well, and I tried to find my rhythm, especially in the first set, and I'm happy that at the end of the set I could win, the most important points.
And in some soccer to finish, West Ham has been knocked out of the FA Cup, beaten 1-0 by Bristol City. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
In Bolivar, a police incident on the north-south motorway near the Bolivar interchange causing heavy delays affecting outbound. Traffic lights are flashing yellow in Mile End on Sir Donald Bradman Drive near the Hilton Bridge. In the city, 2 are down under road closures in place in Victoria Square between Great and Wakefield Street. Also through Lobethal on Main Street between Woodside Road and Wattle Street. And in Norwood on the Parade, as between Osmond Terrace and Portrush Road. With Keno Go, you're only 3 minutes away from a whopping $40 million jackpot. Play with only $2. Download the Keno Go app and start playing today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Jayco Adelaide's factory sale has a van for every budget, with savings up to $3,000. Hurry, ends Saturday.
Partly cloudy and 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 25, mostly sunny Friday, 29 and 34 for Saturday. At the moment, 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
How easily could you save hundreds off your energy bills? That easy. Switch out your gas or electric hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump with EcoVantage. Then sit back and save up to 70% on your water heating costs. And get it supplied and installed for as little as $0, thanks to government-facilitated subsidies. Yep, new hot water system from $0 that saves you hundreds. Pump your energy bills down with ecovantage.com.au.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 plate clearance sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
22 minutes to 9. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll know we've been joined in the studio by Acting Police Commissioner Linda Williams. Commissioner, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Great to have you in, albeit we were just remarking off air. It's just been it feels like a really tragic 4 months in the history of in the police force in South Australia. Just incredibly difficult with so many different threads going on at the moment. Most recently, of course, the tragic loss of life of a police officer in Port Adelaide. I understand there's a coronial inquiry going on at the moment, so there's nothing more to be learnt from that. But we thought it'd be an opportunity to talk about some of the unique challenges of the workforce as a police officer, because you guys are exposed to things that the rest of us thankfully never have to see or necessarily be confronted with, or most of us can go a lifetime without having to see. How do you broach the challenges, and what sort of support do you have to build in to a workforce like that, so that people have a way of processing what they're seeing and dealing with?
It's right what you said about policing is really challenging. We obviously confront people and see them and help them at their most vulnerable, and sometimes that can be really challenging in terms of how people present to us and what's affecting them at the time. And we spoke about it earlier. It can people can be affected by drugs. Sadly, there's a lot of mental health issues there, which can make it difficult for our police officers to be able to talk to somebody in a manner that you'd normally expect to reason with people. And obviously we give people a lot of training and a lot of equipment in terms of their safety. They're well trained, they're well equipped, but with that comes a lot of confrontation and a lot of things that police officers continually see that the average person will probably never encounter, which is very confronting. So we build in from day one as recruits through the entire life cycle of a police officer, support networks, talking about mental health, talking about things that you'll see. We've got our assistance lines there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have external providers because we understand that at times people don't want to talk to internal staff. That's not just for the police officers, it's also extended to their families, because that's really important, because they are the support network, and that's where people go home and they find comfort, and obviously there can be a bit of a transfer of trauma to their family members. Yeah. And also family members are the first to see trauma sometimes, and they're the best resource for them to know what's available, so that they can guide and direct, as well as our managers and our staff. We also look at the whole well-being in terms of the importance of physical health, and we have some programs that support good physical health and maintaining that. And then we have specialist evidence-based intervention programs that are particularly designed for first responders, so they've got a particular focus. So there's a whole range of services. It's not just a one-off, and certainly in those areas that we know there's more acute traumatic experiences encountered. Child exploitation is one of the areas. As an example, we have a very active program of annual psychological assessments to assist people prior to going to those areas, whilst they're there, and post those postings.
But Acting Commissioner, you touched on this about the trauma, the things that police officers have to confront. One of the things that's always shocked me is that wastewater analysis that we talked about off air, which shows that Adelaide has one of the highest levels of methamphetamines use in the world. And that's something that drives crime. It's a health issue, of course, but is a driver of crime and trauma. And, we can't talk about specific cases, but how do police officers deal with that? And what's your reflection on that wastewater analysis, which I think is quite shocking, about the level of meth use in this state?
It's actually, it's a very strong evidence-based approach that tells us that, in Adelaide there is, a significant amount of meth use. So that does play out, you're correct, it does play out on, how it affects people, rates of crime, the situations that police are called to when people are affected and they're, going through psychosis. They're clearly not rational in their thinking at that time.
And violent.
And unpredictable. That's why police officers are, specifically trained. We're not trained as, mental health professionals, but we are certainly trained on how to deal with that situation, to attempt to de-escalate and to reduce the situation back to something that's safer for the person and community. But there's a lot of other work that gets it to that point and that's required after that doesn't involve law enforcement.
But this wastewater analysis is actually, I think you said that there is something quite scary about it. It doesn't spike on weekends, so-called recreational use. It's consistently high. Is that right?
It's consistent in terms of what the wastewater is saying about usage and consumption, about what's going into the system. So it indicates that, you might get some recreational drugs. People call them that. I don't really like to call them that. They're all illegal drugs.
Yeah.
But people will say it's being used, more in a social setting on weekends. What you see with meth is consistent use across the 7-day cycle. That means that, there's an addiction. People are addicted to it.
And it is a very addictive drug.
It's enormously addictive, and that just shows the usage levels across South
And doctors
Australia.
I speak to who work in emergency departments and nurses, they say that they're often chock-a-block full of, significant number of people with meth.
And what we do is obviously we work to disrupt. We work to locate, the drugs in the community. We work really well with the AFP and Border Force in terms of trying to interdict the stuff coming into Australia. And we do get a lot of good seizures, but obviously we can't get them all, and that's what's really concerning because it's still out there. But it's about working really hard to try and get in at the top level of the syndicates and the distribution.
It's a huge problem. The dominant topic of conversation that we had with the police commissioner last year, unfortunately, was tragic and at the same time incredibly frustrating, because it seemed as though there was a message that was getting out there that simply wasn't being listened to or heard by people that needed to have it, and it was with regard to the road toll. We had a statistically all-time shocker of a year last year. As we look forward over the course of this year, is there anything that gives you cause for optimism? How do we go about avoiding having a year as awful as we did last year?
Look, our police resources are out in force, and they'll continue to be. We'll amplify that as much as we can. I just say to people, let's, keep saying it, you just got to take more care on the roads. We'll be out there. We'll use every resource we have. Obviously, we're looking at other technical resources now with, new cameras coming on board. But it comes down to driver behaviour and the stupidity and people, making really terrible decisions. We'll have more campaigns. We'll have more, marketing and advertising to try and hit home really hard and really, to the point about what's going on. We have to live in hope and hope that it works.
It's this paradox, though. We've got safer cars, we've got multiple airbags, you've got automatic braking, you've got lane departure warnings, and yet the road toll's going up. And to what extent are there distractions to mobile phones? Are mobile phones a big driver of driver distraction?
Mobile phones have a big impact because we all see it. We drive everywhere you drive. You see someone who's putting their head down there, using their mobile phone, and that's where we're working towards with Department of Infrastructure and Transport, working towards the introduction of the mobile phone detection cameras. A lot of work being done there. It's progressing really well. I think that'll have a really big impact on people because at the moment, other than being caught by a police officer, beside them in the car, they largely feel that they can get away with it. So there's a game changer coming.
So how far away are we from those detection cameras?
Well, they're working on them at the moment. They've done a proof of concept, and they're working on finalising locations and installation. So it's getting very close.
That's exciting. One of the other big challenges that the police force was facing, albeit not in isolation, I think every single industry in the country was facing last year, was issues about recruitment and labour force shortages, which has led to an expansion of the overseas recruitment program. We knew that obviously there's been great success with the UK. Grant Stevens told us about the New Zealand option being opened up. How has that progressed over the course of the last month or two?
It's really progressed very well. We've now got the official labour agreement that we needed to have via the Commonwealth, so we can provide visas to the applicants from the United Kingdom and Ireland. Very excited about that. We've got some online forums and people have had to register their interest. We've got about 200 UK police officers registered for those online forums.
Fantastic.
We've got some applications in progress so far, which is really great. And part of the online forum is to introduce them to South Australia, to let them know how we're going to support them, what we have here, great place to live.
Climate better than the UK.
Oh, absolutely better. And the things that we know, we've done a lot of market research to understand what appeals to people coming to live in South Australia. So we're very clear about the messaging and the advantages to living here, so what makes it important to people. And it is quality of life, because it is a great place to live and bring your family.
In that space, are we competing against the other states of Australia? Are they doing similar things in their police forces at the moment?
Yep, we are. Queensland, I think, we're one of the first players into the market just recently. Western Australia is certainly out there. So it is a competitive market, but, we're trying to position ourselves as, the best state in the best country in the world, and with the best beaches, Mediterranean climate, and a really good cost of living, a good standard of living, and good accessibility to the rest of the country if you want to travel.
But our police officers get poached, don't they, by other forces?
Yeah, there's a lot of poaching by different police forces and other government agencies, I might say.
Which is kind of a compliment about how well you train your police officers here.
There's a lot of pride in it, but then there's a lot of then there's the reality of having to keep recruiting.
Find another one.
But we've got 300 police officers from the UK that previously came on our previous recruitment drives that still work for us. So there's a success story there, and that they are our biggest marketers in this campaign, because they're selling the real life story. It's the lived experience.
Yeah. Well, good luck with it on all fronts over the course of the coming year. It's great to have you in. Appreciate your time.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Acting Police Commissioner Linda Williams, our guest. Let's check traffic, and we'll be back with some more entries, I think, into our nearest to the pin competition. Some late calls. Late money's the smart money, as they say. We'll check traffic first, though. Novita Tech can support you to live more independently. The summer sale's on now. Visit novitatech.com.au.
In Bolivar, a police incident on the north-south motorway near the Bolivar interchange causing heavy delays outbound. Traffic lights flashing yellow in Mile End on Sir Donald Brabham Drive near the Hilton Bridge. They're playing up in Morfett Vale on Sheriff's Road near Hillier Road. In the city, tour down under road closures in place on Victoria Square between Grote and Wakefield Street, and check your speed Smart Road St Agnes. Multi-stop flights, multi-headaches. Not when you book with the Flight Centre Complex Air Specialist, making round-the-world travel a breeze. Visit flightcentre.com.au to find out more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA mornings today, councils are cracking down on cats. Fines for an unregistered cat born this year in one area up to $500, then $170 ongoing per fortnight. And in the wake of the alleged Kilburn shoplifting incident last night, we'll look at the issue of worker safety in our shops. I'm Matthew Pantelis, looking forward to your company from 9.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
Will Solitaire's Volkswagen's 3-day sale starts tomorrow and is your ultimate chance to save up to 25% on demonstrated vehicles. That's $1/4. It's a big discount.
Huge saving. Plus, get $500 parts and accessories voucher with any Volkswagen demonstrator purchase. The choice is all yours with over 100 vehicles to choose from, and they're all ready. How about this in this day and age? For immediate delivery.
That's right, not 12 months or whatever. And remember, this Saturday, there'll be free family activities at Solitaire Hawthorn and Medini showrooms from 11 a.m.
And that includes coffee vans, a sausage sizzle, there's kids face painting too.
You get VW on your face.
Oh, absolutely. Not just for the kids. And your chance to get 25% off demonstrator vehicles during Solitaire Volkswagen's 3-day sale. It starts tomorrow, but must end this Saturday at 5 p.m.
So just visit solitairevolkswagen.com.au, dealer license number 65541.
If you're fed up with dentures and failing teeth, Next Smile Australia can help. When you choose All on 4 from Next Smile Australia, you're choosing the gold standard of permanent functional teeth. You're choosing a clinically proven 98% success rate. You're choosing 4 decades of experience from Australia's leading All on 4 surgeons. Get the smile of your life in as little as 1 day at Next Smile Australia. Book a complimentary consultation at nextsmile.com.au.
Over 70 years, Meals on Wheels have delivered millions of meals. Meals on Wheels. Great food, great people.
5AA Summer Breakfast with Will Goodings and Nick Xenophon.
7 to 9, time for Fuel Watch. You can download the free RAA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. The cheap spots we've used the app to spot: the X-Convenience Henley Beach Road at Torrensville's at $1.62.5. The OTR Goodwood Road Clarence Park's at $1.63.5. The OTR Hackney Road Hackney is at $1.63.9, and the Ampole Waterloo Corner Road Burton at $1.64.7. The cheapest diesel is the Liberty Main North Road at Nailsworth, $1.76.5. Remember, you can see where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free RAA app. Download it today. Now, all morning we've been putting listeners in the running to win a once-in-a-lifetime experience, frankly. Thanks to Theo, $200 voucher to spend on the best Greek food going around, but also you get to be served by Nick Xenophon, which he threw in as an at about 5 to 7. Nick Xenophon being Manuel, at about 5 to 7, he threw in as an added sort of
faulty
component.
Towers.
Exactly
faulty towers,
right.
if anyone remembers, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So we got some people that have got some late bids for when they think the test match will end. Sharon in Wallaroo, good morning.
Good morning, Will. How are you this morning?
Going
Hi, Nick.
very well, thank you.
Sharon.
What are you thinking about the test, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking West Indies are going to give it a bit of a crack. So I'm going for 3:45 on Saturday afternoon.
That'd be nice. Well, that's almost full 4 days. We take that. Are you
Yeah.
Are you coming from Wallaroo to watch any of the cricket?
Absolutely. We're on our way now. We've left at 5:30 this morning,
Awesome.
and taken a day off of work. So we'll get to day one and to go back to work, ready for tomorrow. Head back to work tomorrow, and hopefully get back for Friday.
A lot of country people like this time of year better than when the test was at the sort of start of December. Do you fit into that?
Oh, no, I'm still December.
Oh, okay,
Love December.
you prefer December.
Yeah.
What's your summer been like in Wallaroo?
Cellar?
Your summer, what's it been like?
Oh, summer. It's a bit intermittent. It's been pretty chilly, actually. Yeah, so you've got to get around the cricket and get down and have a good day.
Well, I hope you guys have a cracking day today. And
thank you.
3:45 Saturday.
And 3:45 Saturday. Good
And
on
I
you,
can't
Sharon.
wait. I would love Nick to wait on us too.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? Get a Wallaroo crew in it, thanks to Theo.
Yeah, Wallaroo. We'll treat him to all good at Wallaroo.
That's great. Thank you, Sharon. Let's go to Rhett. Good morning to you, Rhett.
Morning, Will. Morning, Nick. How you going?
Great.
What are your thoughts on the cricket?
I reckon about 2:05 it'll all be over on Saturday.
2:05 on Saturday. I think if we do in one of those cluster maps, that's where most of the people have sort of predicted around that area. Are you getting along to the cricket, Rhett?
No, I'm not. My grandson's an avid lover of it. I just love Greek food.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
All right.
Yasu.
Did your grandson help you out with the tip then?
No, I've put it in for him.
What are you ordering, Rhett? If you go to a Greek restaurant, if you're going to Thanks to Theo, what are you ordering?
Well, I'm not really quite sure on Greek food, on the names of them, but
You just know you
I'll
like
tell you
it.
what, mate, if there's plenty of meat in there, I'll get into that.
And we've got some nice moussaka for you, the classic Greek dish.
Magnificent.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, Rhett, you're in the...
You just don't want to use a swear word.
That's S's and L's. Rhett, you're in the running to win that excellent prize. And big thanks to everyone who called and texted in over the course of the morning. Emily was busy out in the booth collating all the entries. We'll announce the winner next week. unless, of course, something bizarre happens and the test finishes tomorrow, which would be really strange. I don't know who would win in that situation.
Well, it's the closest one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly
that's
right. It would be truly bizarre. Been great to have you in, Nick.
Pleasure. Can I do my day job now?
Yeah. Do you have to go straight from here to fighting?
I'm seeing a barrister at. Good day to Adam. I'm on my way, Adam.
Are you? Can you give us any? Are you in the process of starting any international fights? Is there any sort of international trade law?
The Ugbert case hasn't gone away. There's more to announce on that next week, I hope.
Okay.
So Ugbert case hasn't. It's still there. It's still there. It's still a live issue.
It's a ridiculous issue.
It is a ridiculous issue, and given the number of jobs that could be created here, but. I'm not giving up. It's one of those things like Sisyphus. I'll be climbing up that hill with the boulder.
Pushing the boulder?
Even if it keeps pushing back, I'll just keep going forever.
Have you had to keep travelling to the US to pursue that, or does it happen online? How does that work?
Look, logistically, I did travel to the US in Chicago, which was an interesting experience. A jury trial in Chicago for a civil trial. It was very interesting. I was sitting at the bar table.
So you had to convince a group of local...
I couldn't. I wasn't allowed to give. I was sat at the bar table with the local
I didn't realise that's how it was heard. Heard by a jury.
Yeah. They have jury trials for just about everything in the US. A jury of 10 in this case.
So they had to explain the history of the Ugg boot in Australia and so forth.
Yeah, to the extent that we could. Anyway, it was a very difficult case. We lost that, but there's still a couple of other avenues.
Okay, well, we hope justice is done. But it's been a lot of fun, Nick. Loved having you in. Really appreciate it.
And so do you get paid for doing this?
Oh, well, I hope so. I don't know what day. I don't know what day goes.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for inviting me, guys. Maybe next couple of years. I'll see you then.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. It really was great fun. Matt Pantelis is taking over after 5AA News at 9 o'clock, and I'll be back tomorrow morning from 6. We'll see you then.
Looking for style and security for your home? Gliderol Garage Doors have been doing this for 50 years. Now's the time to upgrade your home, because when you order a new roller door, sectional door or custom design